What's going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Blam back in the building with another episode of the Shop Podcast. And as you guys can see, we got a packed house. We are back. I missed you guys. We was gone for a couple weeks, but I had to get myself straight. But I appreciate you guys being patient. So everybody that is here, I appreciate you guys, man. Once again, retweet the link, send that out, let everybody know we are live. Get in here, man. We about to have some great gaming topics. We got a lot to talk about. Obviously, we got some awesome guests on the show, as you guys can see. So once again, let everybody know the Shop Podcast is live, man. We doing it big here this evening, man. I appreciate everybody hanging out with us. But let's get to this roster, this all-star lineup that we got here tonight, man. We'll start with our guests. Slow-Mo, how you doing, bro? Appreciate you coming through, bro. Been a little bit of a minute since you've been on the show, but you know, you family, so it's always good to see you here. But how you been, bro?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I'm about to have some nice gaming conversations with some cool peoples, playing some games, man. You know, this is what it's all about, right? So, like, I'm ready to do this. Let's go, man.
Appreciate it, man. And by the way, he is playing Elden Ring. All right, so you know, if he might take extended breaks between topics, you know why ahead of time. So gotta get that DLC finished up. But shout out to you, Slow-Mo, for coming through, bro. Obviously, all his info is in the description below, so you guys go check him out. Appreciate you coming through. And then I got my bald and beautiful brother, Umbra. I see you put the face in the. Oh, you wanted to bring the ladies out tonight. Is that what it was?
Yeah, you know, scare them away real quick.
Yeah. Oh my goodness!
Oh my God, Mr. Glamour Shots! I'm telling you.
Yeah, you see the facial, man. You see it. That's the. Is that your good side, Umbra?
Yeah, that's
a good side.
Yeah.
Did you pay for that picture? Quick. I hope not.
We're gonna have boys only tonight. I'm scared all of them.
Jesus,
but it's about to be a saucy party. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Happy to be here with you all as always, including you, Pong. I suppose.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I suppose. Anyway, yeah, happy to be here, man. Ready to chop it up. We missed. Infinite was off. We didn't have a show this week, so only had 2 shows this week. So this fits in perfectly.
Awesome, man. You got to get them bars off, man. But shout out to you coming through. You know, Umbra got the green pass. Always could come through, man, anytime he's available. And shout out to Chad. You guys are fucking awesome, man. Every week, you guys coming through, even when your boy take breaks, man. I appreciate you guys allowing me to even do that, to get myself together, to come back and give you guys this good content and, you know, bring the show back to where it needs to be. But, man, I got my brothers in the house, man. You already know what it is, man. The 2 best co-hosts in the game right now. Pong, man, how you been, brother?
Yo, I've been great, been fantastic. You know, just kicking ass and taking names out here in real world and trying to, at least. So it's been a run. But I missed you guys. And to come back with man. 2 amazing gentlemen. As much shit as I like to give Umbra all the time, 2 amazing gentlemen. This is the way to come back and spend a night with you, Blam and Fuzzy, and then to have 2 great guests. So Slow-Mo and obviously Umbra, appreciate you both for dropping in here. And Slow-Mo, I got to give you a shout out personally here. I've been doing it on shows over the past couple of weeks, but since you're here, thank you, brother, for recommending Showgunners.
Hell yeah.
You recommended that game the last time you were on here, which was last year or maybe the beginning of the year.
I think it was this year.
Beginning of this year? Yeah.
I love that game.
Yeah, I had picked it up. It had been sitting in my backlog for a little bit because I had found it pretty damn cheap. Finally been playing around with it, man. It's part of my rotation a little bit. And what a great game, man. You were spot on. What a great tactics game. Just a blast. So
what's
been
the name
having
of
a
it
good time
again?
with that.
Showgunners.
It's it's basically take the story of the Running Man.
Yes.
And then make it XCOM.
Yes.
But then give all your characters some kind of special ability that really makes the strategy even better. And it looks fantastic, plays fantastic. At some point I'm going to get the CEO of the company on. So because I on DPS, that is, I love that game so much, and I think they did a fantastic job. It deserves more credit. And but yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it, because I was shouting that game's praises for the longest time, man. It's just no one was just oh, okay, XCOM, okay, whatever.
Of course, man. You gotta be a special breed to appreciate tactics, man. It's one of those things. But I Absolutely adore it because I love strategy tactics games, and the announcer over the action, over the top game show announcer just sets it off perfectly. I laugh out loud sometimes while I'm playing, man. But gruesome too. Absolutely gruesome. Those slow mo death kills, man.
Traps. It's
Nice.
so much. It's literally like, you know how in the Running Man, like you like walk into a room, it'd be like a trap door or someone. Spikes come out of nowhere and impale someone. It's like all that kind of stuff going on while you get into these fights, and it's like you really got to be smart about things. I barely won some fights by just like the skin of my teeth. I got one character left. Shout out to I think his name is Tybalt, the guy that can turn invisible and he can clone. He cannot clone, but he can like impersonate enemies and then make he switch like the looks to make himself look like the enemy and make the enemy look like him. And so the enemy's teammates are shooting him instead of like your own teammate. It's so good. But like I need to rely on that multiple times to just survive certain fights. It's a great game, man. It's a great. I love tactics game. The only reason I even have a Switch is because of Fire Emblem. Yeah. Like I all those kind of games are my jam.
Yeah, so I got to give you, I got to give you the shout out, man, because you did recommend that one, and like I said, it's living up to what you were talking about. So I'm having a blast with that recently. Otherwise, I've been pretty boring because I'm not playing Erdtree. So that's the talk of the town, and I ain't playing that. And everybody that talks about it, I had a nice conversation with Steele this morning. Of course, Steele's rocking the hell out of it right now. And every time I have a conversation with somebody or I listen to somebody talk about it or I see some clips, validates that I made the right decision and did not jump into that freaking DLC.
So you don't got time. Paul don't got time. Patience, huh? Yeah, you don't got time for that. No. I'm
not the Souls guy. Like I said, I love everything about them, and I don't try. I wish I could play them. Blessed be to everybody who does, right? Because I love watching gameplay from it. I love the atmosphere, love everything about it. It's gorgeous, but yeah, I'm not beating my head against that wall, man. I'm just not gonna do it. I had fun for 68, almost 80 hours, I think, in Elden Ring when it first came out. Loved the exploration, gave it all its flowers that I needed to. But man, when I started seeing this DLC is even harder than what I was experiencing, I'm like, nah. So no, I've been pretty boring, man. Really, I finished up Gears of War Judgment. Great game. For a couple weeks. Yeah, so Gears of War Judgment. Throw that in. Yeah, I had unfinished business. I never finished that game, right? So not that I didn't like it, I did like it. But obviously with Gears, the multiplayer for Judgment didn't hit the way the other Gears did. At the time, there was so much to play around that period of time. I just dropped Judgment and never went back to it again. And after the E-Day announcement, I got Gears in my blood again, and I was looking for something. And of all things, I picked out Judgment because I was like, you know what? It's time to finish it. Because I actually was liking the campaign when I was playing it back in the day. Yeah. I literally have not touched it since I hate
the Gears community sometimes act like it doesn't exist, though. It's unfortunate.
And like I said, I get the multiplayer side of things where people said it didn't quite feel like Gears. Like, and I get that. Like, People Can Fly did not necessarily replicate what the Coalition does in multiplayer. But the campaign, now that I've finished it, and I also finished Aftermath as well. On top of it, I went back and played Aftermath, and I had no idea what that story was about. I knew it was in the future, but I hadn't seen anybody play it. So I went back and finished both of those things. I got to say, I got a real appreciation for what People Can Fly did with that story. I have a real appreciation for how they did carry the Gears characters, writing, all of that into their own, Gears game when they're not the Coalition. They did a masterful job with the campaign. I had a blast with that. Loved all the declassified missions that kind of upped the ante on those missions and that kind of stuff. I played every declassified throughout that entire campaign. Just a really, really great addition to the Gears franchise. Like you said, unfortunately, the multiplayer that didn't hit for everybody, it kind of gets plugged into that. Yeah, no, we don't speak about Judgment, but I gotta say, campaign as a Gears head, as an old school Gears head, I think it fits right. It slots right in, and I really had a great time with it. Yeah. So did that. playing H4, playing some Ghost of Tsushima on PC still. Again, a lot of boring stuff. Showgunners, as I already gave Slow-Mo his flowers for recommending that to me. Tried Republic of Pirates, new city builder based on Pirates, of course, right, from a indie dev. Really good. Just came out 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago now. Really fantastic. Has full controller support on Steam, which is really nice. And it's chill. It's not as complex. Anybody who does city builders, it's not like as complex as an Anno 1800 or something to that degree. It's a little bit more relaxed than that. But if you love pirates, man, it looks great out of an indie studio. I'm very impressed with some of the stuff that they've done in that game. And I'm just having a great time. So again, it's on the lines of like a Tropico. If you guys are familiar with Tropicos. So I'm having a great time with Republic of Pirates. Good little pickup. I think it's $25 full price, maybe $30. I got it on sale for like $10 off GG deals, but awesome little game. So, I'll leave it at that. Again, there's a bunch of other stuff in there, but it's all boring old
Nice.
stuff because I'm not playing Erdtree. If I'm not playing Erdtree, I ain't cool this week, so whatever. Just carry on.
That sounds like a little shade, Pong. I'm gonna be honest.
It's a fact. It's a fact. My time. Listen, X is
The
filled.
timeline is
Everybody's
crickets.
posts are Erdtree. Okay, that's what it is, and I totally understand why. Right?
Yeah, facts,
Game
facts,
of the
facts.
generation. Some people are now saying it's their favorite RPG of all time. That is the GOAT. Like, they've earned it. They've earned it.
Yeah.
And the DLC does look amazing. If I was into it,
yeah.
I would be playing it as much as everybody else is right now. But that's it. I will say this too, PTK. I got to say this just as a side note. Diablo 4. Really love Season 4. Up through level 95. I'm done with Season 4. I'm just going to let everybody know that. You won't hear me talk about Diablo 4. I got my character to 100, right? Went Blight Necro again this time around. But I'm really disappointed with the cliff that my build fell off of out of the blue at about level 95, maybe even a couple levels before that. Really disappointing with Blizzard that they can't get this right. I understand there will always be meta builds. I understand that's a part of these games for sure. Especially if you're going to try to do like the highest levels of endgame. I understand that sometimes in these games you do have to min-max, you do have to get that. But after all these years, the fact that they can't figure out how to allow other builds or to allow how people build out a character, because to be successful, even later in the game, really is disappointing. Because they have so much experience, and that team really should understand. This is the godfather of action RPGs, and Blizzard just can't get this right. They've done better, right? They've done better than they have as the seasons progress. They fix things, but man, oh man, let me tell you, I was having a rocking good time all the way up until low 90s or right around mid 90, and then all of a sudden I'm getting one shot. And it just does not make any sense whatsoever. This is I could respec, I could rebuild. However, as I started looking at some of the meta builds, especially for the high level gameplay for a Necro, I don't have any of the equipment that people are running, which would take a lot of grinding to go get again. I could respec out, but without a lot of that equipment, I'm going to be kind of in the same boat in a lot of ways. And that's just disappointing, man. A lot of hours. I mean, you guys all know I have over 400 hours in Diablo now. I mean, this is, I played a character every single season. And I was really loving what they did with Season 4. I was having a great time, but man, that cliff, man, it feels like Season 1 when my rogue fell off a cliff at about level 60. And that was upsetting. That was frustrating. But I just want to throw that in as a side note that they still got to work on some stuff. We're on Diablo 4. They're doing better. They got some cool stuff implemented. Season 5 sounds like it's going to be great. I'm super obviously hyped for the expansion because I love the story. So I can't wait for that. But just really, this is where I think Path of Exile outshines Diablo. And potentially with Path of Exile 2 coming out later this year in beta, they really could take the mantle from Diablo 4 if people start looking at it and start playing around with Path of Exile, because yes, there are meta builds in Path of Exile. Yes, there are the optimum ways to play a character in Path of Exile. But Path of Exile, the way they do upgrading systems, the way that they do the character building, you can take pretty much any build you want to very, very far into endgame before you even have to start considering maybe tweaking some stuff here and there. And that's the biggest difference right now I see between the two, because I hate meta builds. I just hate them, and that's a me thing, but I hate having to worry about that stuff. Again, and I'm no dummy. It's not like I'm running around with a bunch of weak ass gear on thinking that I should be crushing foes. I'm actually paying attention and I do my homework, but I still build the character I want to. It should be viable at least into the end game for a bit. Like, again, so just wanted to point that out because I did do that this week too. Got to level 100 and I was done. I was like, nope, I'm not doing this anymore. So
Got it.
yeah,
I understand. I didn't have the same experience, but I get it. I understand, bro. So that's something they got to work on. Like you said, a lot of Diablo fans do feel that way. I do see that amongst the community. So, like you said, you know, they got 5 coming out. So we'll see the improvements that they make. Hopefully, that's something that they address, Bong. So I feel you though, bro. Because it could be tough. I think that happened to me a couple seasons ago as well too. So, but I feel you. Let me throw this over to Fuzz. What's up, Fuzz? How you doing, brother? Sorry that we had to keep you waiting.
No worries. Just thunder and lightning in the background if you guys can hear that. But yeah, just chilling. Been off social media a good bit. Just not trying to hear people complain about stuff that's an option, stuff like that. Just busy playing some of my older games. Fell back into Division 2.
So I like to hear.
Nice.
Well, it was I had I purposely kept my 4th agent a level 30 because I didn't want to take him through the warlords in New York. The other 3 were already, fully maxed out and everything. But my 4th one, I was like, oh, I'll keep a level 30 just so that way I can do level 30 stuff if I choose to. But now you don't need to go to New York to do the 30 to 40.
Yeah.
I was like, let me go ahead and give this a try. It took a little bit longer than I expected, but I powered through it. And then I had a whole bunch of gear left over in the stash, so had some builds already ready for it. But looking at some of the new talents and things like that, it's like I think they might have too much gear as far as the variety. But it's a good
damn it, man, you gonna make me jump back in. I jumped back in maybe like a month ago, and I jumped in and played a little bit. And I was getting that tingle back, man. I really was, for real. So yeah, man, I really was, because I hadn't played. It's me and Fuzz. I got I don't know how many hours. Like probably over 1,000 hours in that damn game. But
I got characters that have 30 days. I have 3 characters that have 30 days plus, and this this level 30 to 41 is like 26 days now. So, and that's just what's on the screen individually. I'm pretty sure I got some more for leveling up my son's characters too, but yeah, it a lot of time back into Division 2, but there's just so much to do in that game, and it's like sometimes I could just go on autopilot, try to do those league things where it's like the timer and try to get a faster time each time, kind of thing. But just having fun with it. Still playing Forza Horizon 5. I haven't played Forza Horizon 4 in a while, and I wound up buying the full package back in the day. But it's cool to hear that they're giving away, the base game if you just bought like the upgrade or the DLC and stuff like that. But still playing 5, still collecting the weekly cars and things like that. But other than that, a little bit of what else did I play? I haven't touched on what do you call it, Undisputed in a while, but still every once in a while, Vampire Survivor. Still once in a while, I'll start up Starfield, do a couple of like random exploration things because I'm waiting to see when Shattered Space comes out if it fixes 2 of my 5 playthroughs. If it does, then I'll definitely power through some more other than just the DLC stuff. But Diablo, put it down, but not for the same reasons as Pong. Like I did get one-shotted on a lot of those higher level bosses going through the Helltide when like whatever that 3 to 5 level thing that's like gold, and it's like he was one hitting pretty much everybody at times. Like after you get the boss at the little chanting thing, and then another boss comes up when the meter goes up. That was the one that was giving me like all hell, and I was like, But I haven't picked it up in a while. But seeing that Whirlwind Barbarian, I might have to go back to the regular game and not the seasonal to get my Barbarian up to par for that, just to kind of look at that build type of deal. But just been gaming, looking at some interesting news from Xbox, and and running around doing horror con stuff. What was it? Horror at Maine and Harrisburg today. Ran around. The wife was the main one getting autographs and things like that, so she did her thing. Saw some t-shirts and pins and things like that we picked up, but other than that, that's about it. But glad to be here with you guys.
Awesome.
Glad we got Slow Mo and Umber on here tonight, and always love being here with you, PTK and Pong. So it's like, hey, we're back in business. Let's do this.
Let's get it, man. And shout out to chat, everybody hanging out. What's up, Yobi? Shout out to everybody, man. Appreciate you guys. But let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about, man. And you actually, perfect segue. You actually threw the oop to me, and I'm going to go ahead and dunk this thing for us. But we're going to talk about Xbox, Amazon. Obviously, earlier we got some huge news. And yes, it is huge news. Don't let nobody tell you that it is not huge news. Essentially, they have partnered up, regarding essentially putting Xbox on Amazon Fire Sticks, making it available to a lot more people. Essentially, I don't know how many monthly users. I believe it was 40 million monthly users?
50 million got
50
Fire
million
Sticks.
monthly users that have Fire Sticks currently.
Yep.
So, this is a huge deal, right? We've talked about, how are they going to go about, the whole cloud deal, obviously. Obviously that's a huge deal for Microsoft, right? They're hugely invested in that. How are they going to expand Game Pass? Seemingly, it had got not stagnant, but it kind of leveled out for a little while. We thought that the numbers would be a bit higher at this point. How would they inject? What would they do to inject new energy into Game Pass? Like, this is seemingly a huge play. So I want to get everybody's opinions. I'm sure you guys have talked about this 3-4 times already this week, but got to get them bars off. We're going to start with you, Slow Mo, man. And once again, when this popped off, man, this is something we've been talking about with Xbox. Some people, thought this is a great idea. Some people weren't too favorable, when the news came out. But where do you sit on this?
I think at this point, we should all acknowledge that Microsoft don't really care about doing things the traditional way. And so like it's like we heard them say they were going to do this, and then I guess people just kind of figured, all right, anyway. and then they did it, and they're just like, oh my God, they're putting it on Fire TV, and it's just like, well, yeah, of course they are. So that's what they said they were going to do. Now, I mean, whether you agree with that or not is, we'll see how it goes. I think this is detrimental to the Xbox console because, again, here's yet another way that like you can play Xbox games or be in the Xbox ecosystem without needing a console. But I think that they also acknowledge that. I think they have seen where they are on the console front, and they say, okay, but we need to, we can't continue doing things the way Nintendo and Sony do it. We're going to have to go a different way in order to achieve the number of people that we want playing our games. And so if that's not going to be with the console, that's going to be difficult for some people to wrap their head around, but it is what it is. And partnering with Amazon, one of the companies that at one point Phil Spencer said was a major competitor.
Yeah.
For them.
Still says it, I believe.
Right. So like this is a way where you can kind of, if they grow on the gaming side of things, it's really only just going to help benefit you in the same way. From what I saw in the article, in the blog, whatever statement they had was that like as of now, it's like the 2023 Fire TVs, like the 4K ones that came out last year, are the ones that are like going to have the Xbox app on there. So that's cool. That's great. This is probably like your old Fire Stick that like you bought 5 years ago and it barely functions. Like that one's not going to work. But
yeah,
what you're looking at here is the entry level. you have a at the most $60 device that you can get into the Xbox ecosystem with, instead of having to spend like a minimum for the console $300 on the Xbox Series S. Granted, like, you're not getting the level of performance that you that like us hardcore gamers care about, right? You're not getting the great visual fidelity. This is running through X Cloud, so that ain't exactly GeForce Now. So it's going to not look like Hellblade 2 ain't gonna be popping the way it is on the Xbox Series X or PC. But that said, for the kind of target demographics that will consider playing a game through Fire TV, which is not me because I refuse. But the kind of person that will want to play through that, they probably don't care if it's at 1080p or 720p, 60 frames per second. They don't even know what that means. So as far as they're concerned, it's just like, hey, if it runs pretty decent, then I'm good to go. And I think that is somewhat of a questionable thing about if it runs pretty decent. I haven't tried xCloud in a while, but the last time I tried it, I was like, I was on vacation, and I had a laptop with GeForce Now. GeForce Now is freaking excellent, by the way. Probably the best cloud gaming you can get. It's not as great as local, direct installed games, but it's pretty damn close. And especially if you get the GeForce Now Ultimate, you get a 4080 in the cloud. It's fantastic. But I would be going back and forth because there's some games I wanted to play that weren't in GeForce Now, but they were in Xbox Cloud Gaming, and it's just the differences were so drastic. This was probably earlier this year or late last year, so it's like I don't know where they're at with getting that level of quality to be on par, but we're even seeing some things about potentially having on Xbox GeForce Now be available. Some rumors out there, some screenshots have come out. So I think it's good. Like, net positive, they are working on their game plan to get games into more homes, their games into more homes for more gamers. And yeah, I don't got a problem with it.
Awesome. I mean, you addressed a lot of things there, and I'm sure we're gonna get into all of the particulars, man. But I the one thing I want to highlight too is that, like you said earlier, this is essentially part of the roadmap, right? And it's a treacherous territory, like you said. And they're generally, Xboxes, they do this about every single generation. There's something that they do which is a little left field compared to the other two. You're right about the fact that they can't do business the same way Sony and Nintendo do business. They just don't function that way. They don't have the same cachet. They don't have the same history, I would say, as far as, in the gaming space. But they are trying to leverage what they are good at. You know what I mean? So, you got to give them kudos for that too. And I believe that this can pay off. It's a huge upside, right? I understand there's technology limitations. You got infrastructure limitations. Not everybody lives in a big city with a great internet connection. Exactly. That's still a thing. But
those are going to be I think that's like, and I see less people talking about that and more people just talking about the slogan of no console, no problem. I think that was the slogan, the marketing, which is like, are we still being, surprised that they're telling people you don't need a console? Because they've been saying that as well. But I think that the bigger question is, how is it going to perform? Because even though I see some people in the chat saying like they've tried xCloud before and it didn't work that well for them. And it really is dependent on where you are, what kind of connection that you got going on.
There's a lot of variables.
It's a lot of variables that come into play. And what you don't want, especially for people, because like you're for people who already have a Fire Stick, or depending on, maybe they'll get a brand new one and they see Xbox on there, they're like, oh, okay, well, I can sign up for Game Pass Ultimate and play games through this. Maybe I can get my kids to do this. They can leave me alone while I'm watching Netflix or on something else, or I'm playing, my games through with some other device. But then if you have technical issues, that's going to be something that, you don't want that to be the first impression. right? You don't want that to be like someone who maybe a completely different generation of gamers, like younger kids, and they've really never touched an Xbox before. They know about PlayStation, they know about Nintendo, they heard about Xbox, but they never really played anything Xbox related. If you're going to have this be their first experience, they need to make sure that xCloud is performing better than it has been in the past, because it has not been great. And you need to make sure that you're getting the level of consistency that like your competitors in that space, like Nvidia, are getting. Like, I don't see anyone saying, I tried GeForce Now, it was absolute garbage. I've never heard anyone say that.
Yeah.
So it's just like you have to make sure that your infrastructure is on par to be able to handle being introduced to a whole new demographic of potential gamers and potential subscribers, because you get them in and hey, maybe someone buys it. More than likely what they're going to do, you have a Fire TV, you're going to buy one, and it's going to have a little card in there saying 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate for free. Of course, right? And just to get you started. You don't want them saying after like a couple of sessions, I'm gonna go back to playing. I'm gonna go back to playing games native because this ain't working for me. I'm hitting the button, and then like 2 seconds later, the character moves. Hell no. Like look, and I'm a bit of a snob in gaming. Like I got my 4080 Super on PC. I barely like even playing on the console right now. I just look at these muddy textures. I'm like, what is this, right? But I can imagine someone who's used to a console then playing games in cloud and going, oh, what resolution is this on a 4K TV? On my 4K TV, you got to make sure you're on point with those things. And so hopefully they have that stuff shored up before this like officially goes live.
Got it. Yeah, and I don't even know what the timeline is on this at this point, but once again, partnering with a company like Amazon, that could help as well too. I don't know how much tech they're actually sharing, but that does help extend your reach as far as servers, as far as, what I mean, all that. I'm not super technical, but maybe they've worked that out as well to maybe help extend that too. So we'll see how this works out. It is a huge, I don't want to say gamble, but it is a huge play essentially for Xbox, and we'll see. There's a huge payoff. It's it's a little risky, but damn it, what I mean, at this point, I've always said, Slow-Mo, it doesn't seem like the games, what I mean, are being sacrificed. They're not sacrificing, the games, consoles. We already saw the showcase. It doesn't seem like that they're lacking in that area. You know what I mean? In my opinion, I'm okay with
showcase. Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm okay with this, bro. Like I'd be even okay with it without a great showcase. But I think it helps. It shows me that they're still doing what they told us. Like that's still a huge focus for them. So that does give me a little bit of reprieve when it comes to the cloud thing. Now you're right. It's not necessarily for me either, because I want consistency. You know what I mean? So I prefer just to play natively. You know what I mean? But ultimately, this is something that could pay off huge for them if it does work out. If they're able to get the technology close, like you said, I don't know how close they could get to GeForce Now. That's a huge hill to climb. It's a big jump from where,
look, GeForce Now got 4080 in the cloud. They doing 4K, 144 frames per second. They got games. There are people who's gaming PCs not playing as good as GeForce Now Ultimate. So it's just like, I'm not saying they gotta be at that level. You just gotta get it to a level where it's like, give me 1080p or 1440p in games and rock solid frame rates. Like if natively it's getting 60 FPS, I want natively 60 FPS on cloud gaming. Like that's the kind of stuff that like if you're at least doing that, I can see people just and the latency, which is probably the most important thing. The latency is really low. That's what you're going to really need, because it can look fantastic, but if I can't aim and shoot at an enemy, then it's just like I'm not playing it. I just know there's no way I'm playing that game. Like I've tried the PlayStation one. I forgot what it's called. What's the PlayStation Remote Play? Is it PlayStation Remote Play?
Yeah.
Remote Play?
Yeah.
I can't do nothing but stuff like Until Dawn on PS Remote Play. Like something where it's just basically I'm going up to people and then I'm talking to them, and every now and then I do a QTE. I'm not playing Call of Duty in like a cloud game, so I'm not expecting that. But if you want to play something like an action adventure game or a platformer, you're gonna need timing. You know, you're gonna need to be able to do things in a way where latency is minimal and you're able to just forget that you're playing on a cloud device and just enjoy the game.
Yeah,
and they gotta make sure they're knocking that out.
All right, well let's get Umbra in on this conversation. So, Slow Mo makes some great points. Obviously, we got to look at this, in all different directions. Shout out to Steel. I'm finna steal this from you, brother. All right, I'll send you the cash app later on for your slogan here, but we got to pull this out. Get an RTS view on this topic, right? Umbra, but where you at on this, bro? Because like I said, it's pretty divisive, I would say, on Twitter. A lot of people are excited for it, but there are a large party that aren't. But where you at on it, brother?
The only ones that are really down on it are Who brothers. They're the only ones trying to make a look. Like, who else is really on the Xbox side? Like, don't do this, Xbox. Like, I haven't seen that. So I think the situation is unique for a few reasons. How do I put this? One, it felt like Microsoft was kind of abandoning the whole cloud situation. I'm pretty sure many of us kind of saw that. Like, it wasn't a focus on cloud anything for them for a long while, and then, like Slow Mo pointed out, there's been a mixed bag as far as people's experiences. Mine has always been solid across the board, I have to say, and I'm fortunate. So I've used my phone to play games. I with the Razer Kishi, I've done all of that away from home on different networks, all of that, and it played for the most part flawless.
Hey, real quick, I'm glad you've had that kind of experience. Have you dealt with the queues though?
I might even not know. I think one time, and that was more recent, maybe several months back.
I was gonna say I had one recently too.
One time,
oh man, I remember. One time I saw a queue. It said 30 minutes to get into Starfield. I said, "No, sir, I ain't waiting 30 minutes to play this game. Y'all better get it together." But no, my bad. Go ahead, yo.
No, you're good. I haven't only seen it. I've seen it only once, and I think after I rebooted the thing, I just kind of closed it and opened it back up. It kind of corrected itself. So my experience has been positive. So I feel for those who get like the dreaded 180 minutes or whatever it pops up. I've seen those screens, so it's not like people are lying. And so I can't dismiss this as a nothing burger either, because clearly they're experiencing it. For me, it's always been solid across the board. So it left a taste or a thought in my head, at least, where it made me think, is Microsoft actually going to continue on with cloud gaming the way they have? We also saw they were shutting down underwater servers and stuff like that. So it kind of felt like, are they moving away from this? Then we see the news, or not the news, but the allegedly leaks of GeForce being included with xCloud and stuff, and you can use GeForce to use xCloud and all of that with those screens. I'm sure you guys have seen it.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like, what are they doing here? Are they going through them now? And by the way, I've used GeForce on my Xbox through the browser. I didn't like the experience, but largely because it was convoluted trying to get it to get to the whole thing through that browser. I'm sure if I use it just regular on my PC, it'd probably play flawless. I'm pretty sure. So, but just trying to get through that whole convoluted thing on the browser on the Xbox, it was really frustrating for me personally. But you're right, they do have those options of the 4060, I think it was, or something like that.
It's they got like 3 tiers, and it's the top tier, which is like $20 a month, is a 4080. As far as long as they are available, because they got kind of like, it's like a little bit of like a limited availability for the 4080s, but I've never not got a 4080 to use. Whenever I used it, it's always been available. And if you do the middle tier, you get like a 3080, which is it's not exactly a bad GPU, right?
Right.
And then the free tier, I think, is basically, hey, look, if we got some excess space, we'll let you in. And it's like 1080p 60.
We'll give you a little taste right here.
We'll give you a little bit, but you ain't paying us no money, so we're not guaranteeing you a spot for a server.
Much. Yeah, I had the highest tier, so I had the 4080 then, because I paid $20 whatever a month. I only did it 1 month, and I stopped using it after about 4 tries, and I was like, it's not working well because it was just convoluted on the Xbox. But it is a way to do that, and it's probably somebody who knows how to use it much better than me and more efficiently than me. They probably have an easier time. But regardless of all that, the bigger thing too is outside of thinking they were kind of going away from the cloud thing, it seems like they have their head straight with this. But it's a little confusing because now they're partnered up with Nvidia, like I said. And also, okay, let's go back to this. They had the whole, remember, you guys remember with the VGAs, they had the whole, Samsung TV, with xCloud and all Amazon, xCloud app on the Samsung TV. And I remember being ticked off, man, when they just showed that and then showing you like games and stuff like that that year. I was like, you really just showed us a damn Samsung commercial, and that was it. And now that was like they're the solution of having it being directly in Samsung TVs. So now they have the Amazon option with the $40 4K sticks and stuff like that. They'll later bring in the lower model. But so my thing is, are they undercutting Samsung now? Like, what happened with that situation? Now this is smarter, far smarter, of course, because who doesn't have Amazon Fire Stick at this point, right? In some capacity, most everyone I know has one. So, or some type of option like a Roku, maybe a Roku. So maybe they'll even partner up with
I was going to say that they probably next on the list.
Next on the list, I would imagine. But so this is a smarter option. It's much wider, a wider option to reach, rather, to gain more people to join in on this. Samsung, to get those TVs, I think they're kind of pricey too, right? Not to the LG C1 and those EX's level, but they are pretty pricey.
Yeah, it's not $60.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you got these like $40 options with the Fire Stick and just plug it into a TV, you're good to go. So this is smart for that reason. I like what they're doing with that. It's going to give them possibly more reach for that. I mean, I think it will more appeal to the casuals. It's not really going to appeal, like Slomo said, it's not going to appeal to us. Like, I have this new PC. I'm not going to play that on that. So it's just not going to happen. But excuse me at the burp, but for the casual,
it's okay to say you're a gaming snob too, man.
Yeah. I'm still trying to keep my pinky down right now. I'm trying.
No, put that pinky up, man. You pay good money for that.
Around. You're right. Listen, I got me a damn 4080 Super. Damn all of y'all. All right. Okay, went too far, right? No, but no.
Oh, no, you good.
You see his influence on me.
Yeah, I see.
But
no, Pong is next, so he'll get you right. We'll even it out.
Yeah, Pong. Well, Pong has a PC too. He's playing on his PC.
Yeah, you're right.
He leads too. But no, I think, like I said, it's interesting how they're approaching it. I just don't understand, like, we don't know the inner workings and like them with the whole Samsung situation. Like I said, seems kind of funny that it was like, oh, that was a whole big hubbub, and then it's now suddenly like, oh, nope, Amazon. Is also interesting because Amazon and Xbox, or excuse me, Microsoft hadn't had the best of relationships.
They really don't.
Yeah,
it's funny because people aren't looking at this from the other way around, Umbra. Like, how would this benefit Amazon? Like, how does this benefit them out of all of this, right?
That's interesting too.
Yeah,
we know they failed as far as their,
they're not and Luna's might as well not exist. So
pretty much, yeah, it's still there.
The tech is there though.
Yep. And maybe they'll work something out when Microsoft buys that from them. I don't know, but the whole situation is odd because of that. But hey, it's business at the end of the day. So I guess they just say, hey, look, we're putting that aside, because like they literally sued Microsoft, so to use them in a case of when that was happening. But again, if they can work together and get it through, hey, it is what it is. I think it also, I'm sure it's a play at a bigger play for something involving Apple or something. I can imagine, maybe, right? Like, oh, look, we work together here, Judge, blah, blah, blah. Look at Apple. They're still being anti-consumer or something. I can see that, but it's just, I think for, like, again, for Xbox, it's smart business just to have this out here where it can reach so many more people, because it's got to be hundreds of millions, I would imagine, like 100 million or more, maybe 50 to 100 million. They got a Amazon Fire Stick or something like that, I can imagine. So I don't know. It's smart. We'll see how it goes. I know some people were worried, like, oh, the hardware. I don't think my Xbox is going anywhere when it comes to a native solution. So I think you all will be fine with that. That's why I said I don't know if any Xbox guys are really complaining about this. I think it's more behooved boot hijinks, if anything.
The hardware thing is always interesting because it's never as steep as people. You know what I mean? Like it's always fairly gradual. I mean, unless you're Nintendo. Nintendo jump off the porch with you never know what they're gonna do next with their actual hardware. But like Xbox and PlayStation have been pretty.
The next Nintendo Switch and cardboard.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like you never know what Nintendo's gonna do, but Xbox and PlayStation have been pretty straightforward. Although I understand times are different, right? Technology wise, economy wise, unfortunately, politically wise as well too. But that all plays a part, right? So I don't know. I guess we'll see how that plays out. But I do agree with you on that part. On that. Sorry to cut you off, bro. Go ahead.
Oh no, I mean that was really it for me. I bloviated enough. I'm sure Pong wants to shut me up too. So, but I mean, yeah, big at the big picture wise, I think it's smart for them. I think it's smart business for both of them. I'm not sure what the get is for Amazon. I'm sure they work the numbers out somewhere weird behind the scenes. It is what it is.
I'll tell you what Amazon is doing. When Amazon was doing exactly what Google planned on doing until Google quit. So remember back when Microsoft acquires ZeniMax Media and Google was like, wait a minute, how much they spend? Nah, we ain't doing all that. Shut all this stuff down. Stop them right there. Stop making that game. Don't make that. No. Shut all the studio. Fire everybody. We out of here. When Google quit, Amazon also did a little bit of about face because Google, they saw the failure of Stadia and Luna was going to be exactly like that. If you notice now, they don't really put the focus on. They're still in gaming, but they're not focused on everything is the beginning and the end of it all is Luna, the way Stadia was that for Google. Amazon has been publishing games.
Oh, I was gonna say that's their thing now. That's the bread and butter.
They're publishing the next Tomb Raider game. They published Lost Ark, which was basically the Korean version of Diablo. It was really big on the eastern side of the world. They got their own games. New World, the MMO is
that's coming to Xbox,
popular.
by the way. And I mentioned was that part of like
maybe it was maybe a little scratch my back or scratch yours kind of thing. But they're more focused than being like a actual real publisher right now, and they're taking games even if they don't even own the studio. That's fine. We'll publish a game, especially if it's a developer like damn, I can't remember the developer for Lost Ark. Can't remember their name, but they had never published any games.
I think it was Smilegate.
Is it? Yeah, it is Smilegate. Yeah.
Yeah.
They had never published a game at that time on the Western Hemisphere. So Amazon really stepped in and really helped them out in doing something that they weren't really, set up to do at that time. And we saw all the foolishness going on with Embracer. Now we don't even know like what's the name? What's the name like Coffee Cups and Friends or something like that? Like that's
they shut that studio down.
Like that.
Yeah. It's just like now it's just whatever. Amazon is doing the publishing on that, so they kind of step in where there's an issue in getting distribution done, but there's a lot of potential for good sales off a good game because we know Crystal Dynamics makes good games, and the Tomb Raider games were awesome. So yeah, that's kind of what they're doing now, and it makes sense. Hey, we put Lost Ark on Xbox. You put your subscription on our devices. Yeah, it's really makes our devices more attractive compared to getting a Roku or whatever the hell else. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
I would love Lost Ark on Xbox, by the way. I've campaigned for that a few times years ago.
Nice.
I was campaigning for Microsoft to actually pay attention to Korea. I said Korea, because all this, wanting Japan this and Japan that. I'm like, Korea, they make games that actually speak to your demographic. They make MMOs, action RPGs, isometric view
Soul
RPGs,
game, Souls-like game.
Like, what are you doing?
And I've been pounding the table.
Pong has been saying that shit for like 5 years, bro. Like he said, get the leave. You don't even need to look. You don't actually have to even. I mean, listen. No disrespect to Japan.
No.
There's a lot of other. He said, I believe he said them in India, right? Was it them in
and
India?
China.
China as well, yeah.
Yes, the untapped talent in that region is ridiculous. And Japan, because of its lockdown nature, because of how long they have been insulated in the gaming industry, it's hard for Xbox to break through and build partnerships. They've done a ton of work, and they are. It's working, right? We've seen cracks. But I said all along, Slow-Mo, these new groundbreaking areas, South Korea is filled with up and coming talent. These devs coming out of nowhere, like Shift Up, all of a sudden with their first game, putting out again, you could argue if AAA or AA all day long, high quality, first time, brand new IP where we can barely get Western devs to put out good performing games. There is so much talent.
They used to make spank bait on mobile.
Yes.
That's what they used to make spank bait games on mobile.
Right.
And now they made a decent action game.
What about
it's just like
the people that are making Black Myth Wukong?
Black Myth Wukong out of China. Again, unknown. Yes, they're experienced developers, right? But it's a brand new studio. They came out and people called it bullshit, right? People came out and said there's no way the game's going to look this good. And now it's looking even better. Now we got another one in Phantom Zero coming out of nowhere from an unknown studio. The talent is rich. All I said was, listen, you guys can keep going after Japan. Like, that's cool. Keep working your deals. Keep trying to get in there. That's fine. But all of this, Korea, China, and all these untapped markets, like, I'm happy that, they've opened up something in Africa for untapped talent. I'm happy that they're kind of working in India as well. But my God, South Korea and China are filled with devs, like you said, Slow-Mo, that are producing.
They're just leaving it to Sony.
Right,
just letting Sony just take it off.
That's what I said, man. I said this all along. Like, get in there. This is the time. Go and invest in some studios there. Get in there while the getting's good, because there is so much there. And they produce, like you said, Slow-Mo, they're producing games that not only are popular in the East, but that the Western side of things love as well, right? For a lot of different reasons. That it's just such a great potential. And I wish they would have gotten in there early years ago. Like, I really thought they could have gotten in there and gotten a couple studios and really been doing something by now. But again, there's still more up and coming teams. Again, these teams are popping up all over the place. And all of a sudden,
definitely.
I mean, I made a video years ago. Like, this might have been about 2020, maybe 2019, where I was like, yo, they should buy Pearl Abyss. Like, forget
1000%, bro.
Like, Pearl Abyss has got 1,000 developers. They make Black Desert. They're making Crimson Desert.
Crimson Desert should be on the Xbox stage, man. It should be. Oh my God, that is going to be a game that's going to blow up. It's going to be.
They showed off a game that hasn't come out yet, but they showed off a game called Plan B. And or is it Plan A? I said Plan B. I'm like, oh man, hold on, that's something different. My bad. Plan 8. Plan B is if you need a Plan B, you messed up. But no, look, Plan 8, and look up Plan 8, not Plan B, Plan 8 on YouTube, and just put like Plan 8 game, and you will be like, your jaw will drop of what they're working on. And I'm just like, how?
Also the ones that did
people forgot about Doke V.
Yes, Doke V is another one.
Are you kidding me? Like that game, I was like, what is this?
The First Descendant is coming out on Tuesday.
I'm doing that's another one. I am too. Yep.
All in.
Big looter shooter. Nexon.
Shout out to Steel in the chat. Shout out to Steel. Hey, he's probably butt naked by now, by the way, y'all.
He came in early saying he was butt naked.
Oh, he did?
Oh,
man.
He good.
Oh, man.
It's Florida heat, man. He's got.
Oh, you're right. It's a little humid. It's humidity down there too. Yeah. Still, get yourself some wet wipes. You'll be all right.
Yo.
Oh, Plan 8 is the one that I was talking about before, where it has like the things that look like it, the things from, what is it, The Matrix? Like, remember the bots that try to kill the ships or whatever?
Yeah, the little squid-looking bot things.
Yeah.
You see, like, people, you see humans parkouring off walls, dodging attacks, and pulling guns out of their arms. And I'm just like, no one decided to just take a flight. Hey, look, how many times has Sarah and Phil flown to Japan? Just if you right there, after you did your talks with the Japanese publishers, just take a 2-hour flight to Korea and just sit down with some people. Make some inroads.
Throw a bag. Fuck all that, Slow.
Yes.
Throw a bag, man. What are we talking about?
We're Microsoft.
Play some BTS.
Get a check.
Oh, here you go. Come on.
No, but yeah, I think we're all in agreement. Like there's a lot of too much untapped potential out there that they're just ignoring.
Yep.
Go ahead, Pong. It's on you. Ball in your
it's
court,
on me.
brother.
Wait, we're talking Amazon Fire Stick. Okay. You guys all made great points. Obviously, I almost finished War and Peace during Umbra's time, but that's okay.
Holy
I'm glad I'm finally here.
man.
No, you guys all made great points, and the easy thing to say is that this should not be surprising to everybody. I'm not shocked anymore, but it still is just, I sigh every time I look at this community. Like, are you guys not listening to anything that's been being said for the past 2, 3, 4, 5 years now? Like, I don't understand why this always becomes an issue when Xbox is going to go do something different from everybody else. They are no longer on the same business model that has been prevalent for decades for the major console players. They are doing something completely different. So it makes all the sense in the world. And Umbra and Slow-Mo had great points about that. It's another access point. It is it's just another way to get in front of more people, to have your ecosystem in front of more people. Is this going to be the biggest thing ever? Am I expecting 100 million subs all of a sudden out of the blue because everybody can play Xbox on their Fire Stick? No, of course I don't. And we don't know how big this is going to be. So I agree with all your points. I'll take I'll take another look at this as well. Something that I talked about the past couple days about this. And that is, and you guys kind of touched on it a little bit there towards the end as well. This is part of a bigger deal when it comes to what Microsoft and Xbox has been doing throughout this industry. And this goes back to Phil's comments about how he has said multiple times he wants to help the industry grow, not just Xbox, but he wants to help the industry grow, and he wants to help everybody be healthy. We used to talk about a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, about Tencent and how they were buying their way in, buying little bits and pieces of companies and taking a little bit more power, a little bit more control over different devs and publishers and stuff. Xbox is doing it through partnerships. They are building a web of partnerships that is really impressive when you take a step back. At every turn, people have downplayed these partnerships, and we are starting to see that, as I've stated, a lot of people poo-pooed this stuff and for various reasons and said, oh, the Sega deal, oh, that's just for the cloud stuff. They're just helping Sega do this big mega super game deal, whatever they called that initiative. They're just helping them on the back end with some cloud tech. Some of us were smart enough out here going, oh, no, there's more to this. Suddenly the Atlas catalog is opened up. Suddenly Atlas is on the Xbox stage after never being around Xbox. So these deals always are deeper than what we see on the surface. And I'm starting to think and believe that this is their plan. These are strategic moves. When they picked Ubisoft to be the ones to license out the cloud gaming, their cloud games with the ABK deal, that was strategic. They just didn't randomly pick Ubisoft. Okay, they just didn't throw a dart at the board and say, oh, who gets our cloud rights, and come up with Ubisoft. That was to strengthen an already good relationship with one of the world's largest third-party publishers. Okay, they are doing these things that are going to be beneficial to both parties involved. This isn't just Microsoft and Xbox giving up everything. These have been deals that are giving back on both sides. And I believe that this is a continuation. We just talked about a little bit. I heard you guys bring up GeForce Now potentially popping up, as we've seen, at least in the browser side of things, that maybe they cut that deal with NVIDIA to put games on GeForce Now. Well, now all of a sudden, are we going to have the option to be able to stream games through GeForce Now through the Xbox app? Is that now a thing? They have a deal with AMD. Like, they've been partners with AMD for a long time. They go over to NVIDIA and cut a deal for some of their cloud tech because, as you guys pointed out, that cloud tech is ridiculously good according to everybody. I watch people play Cyberpunk on ultra settings streaming, and it looked fantastic. I'm like, what? They're not dumb here. So now all of a sudden this week, we've got them going to their main cloud competitor. Amazon with AWS is the one cloud company who beats them, and they are chasing. And you're going to tell me they're going to cut a deal with them? Listen, This is big time plays. This is, again, building out a web within the industry without going in and necessarily buying up things or, acquiring things or acquiring shares and companies, all that kind of stuff. They are making partnerships that are going to pay dividends now in the short term, but in the long term as well. You are bringing everybody into the fold. You also are lowering the threat level for any future acquisitions. You are voluntarily cutting deals with some of your biggest competitors in the industry so that when you go acquire things and those regulatory bodies come back knocking on the door saying, hey, we got to take a look at this real quick. All those questions that came up during the ABK deal, Microsoft's got receipts upon receipts of, we're not about monopolizing this industry like that. We ain't about taking over. We're about spreading the wealth. We're about doing deals, making everybody stronger in this game, growing the industry as a whole. We're not about taking it over. But in the meantime, they've got beneficial strategic partnerships built up. With Amazon specifically, I think there's one other thing that's possible here. And I think this is the one thing that really we were talking about last night on Xbox Ultimate, and it was kind of fresh. It's been fresh, so I really haven't really thought it out. But it popped in my head because for years I said that Microsoft and Xbox were going to get back into the TV movie industry, right? And I thought that they would restart what they had begun with the Xbox One. Because transmedia is so powerful. And we just saw that with Fallout, which, by the way, was made by Amazon. They have now seen it. They didn't see those results with the Halo over on Paramount Plus because, well, let's just be real. They kind of took the fun out of Halo, okay? They didn't really lean into the video game side of things. Now comes along Fallout, done by Amazon Studios with the right people in place, Todd overseeing it. And suddenly you lean into the video game atmosphere of that title, but you also make it relatable and fun for people who have no idea what the Fallout video game is. So I always had this idea that transmedia would eventually become a big thing again for Microsoft and Xbox, and that they, we had talked about that during acquisition season, that maybe WB, I was on board with WB because of that. Maybe they're not ready to jump back in with their own studios. Maybe they don't want to take the risks that come along with TV and movie studios and that kind of stuff. Well, you just had Amazon do something pretty spectacular with one of your IP now. Something that caused 5 million people per month to jump into Fallout games, right? They've now seen the power of a successful transmedia IP. Down the road here, they've got a couple things. Now, Todd said Elder Scrolls really doesn't fit into the mold, per se, that like a Fallout does. And I understand where he's coming from there. But you got another fantasy IP that's coming out that kind of has a lot of the same qualities that Fallout does, and that would be Fable.
I knew you were going to say that.
Oh, yeah. It's got humor. It's got darkness. It's got adultness. It's got all the hallmarks that you would like to see in a TV show if it's done properly. So all of a sudden, you can get maybe a Fable IP seeing a series come about. You got another one too, by the way, Perfect Dark, Joanna Dark. Not the biggest household name anymore by any stretch of the imagination, but obviously that doesn't matter. A lot of people who watch Fallout never heard of Fallout before. You got a spy thriller with a female lead with a bunch of kick-ass different weapons and electronics and all sorts of cool gadgets, saving the world in a James Bond fashion and all these different places. Sounds like a pretty damn cool show to me. Sounds like it could drive interest. And my point always was that Microsoft overall, and I'm talking about Microsoft as a corporation, when they looked at the digital future of video games, I always envisioned that with Azure and what they were trying to line up with the cloud, again, whether it's 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now, there's going to come a time and point, most likely, where hardware isn't a necessity at all. And we know that everybody will get out of the hardware business as soon as they can because it really doesn't make any money. And I always said that that's what they were looking towards, and that they wanted to have proof of concept that the Azure servers and what they could do with the Azure servers, and obviously this was even pre-AI and the stuff that they are now investing in as heavily as they are, but just on the Azure servers alone, they wanted to have proof of concept that they could run an entire video game company through the cloud, like Xbox, at a high level, be one of the biggest publishers in the world, and create a seamless, flawless system where all this content was available wherever you were. And they wanted to do that proof of concept so that eventually, when other people left the hardware industry, like Sony, like Nintendo eventually maybe, that when they were starting to look at who was going to host their storefronts, that Microsoft with their Azure servers would become the gatekeepers. And they would become a lot like what Amazon Prime is, because Amazon Prime, for all you Prime members, you guys already know, maybe people who haven't looked at Amazon Prime before, I don't know who nowadays doesn't have Amazon Prime, but I'm sure there's still plenty. When you go into their Amazon Prime app, you don't just see Amazon stuff. You can subscribe to HBO. You can subscribe to Showtime. You can subscribe to Stars. You can subscribe to Discovery TV. You can subscribe to all these other places right through Amazon Prime. I saw Microsoft thinking that they could create a storefront like that, where they were the gatekeepers. They were the portal keepers, the one access point portal where you walked in and you had your Xbox storefront there, but you had Sony storefront there too. You had Nintendo storefront there too. And all the games, all your libraries, all available right behind that one portal entry point. You could jump between them seamlessly. And I also said, because with the transmedia IP, that this was a great proposition if you were going to jump back into TV's entertainment. I could see it working now over on Amazon the same way I described it back then. Imagine had this been already a thing where Xbox's ecosystem was available on Fire Stick users right now for Amazon. And a bunch of those people watched Fallout and then found out that it was based on a video game and then got curious about the video game. How many more people would have been just jumping right into Fallout games right there and then through their Amazon Fire Stick had all this already been available? That is the key. That is the seamless, like that's the less places people have to go, the less steps people have to do, the better, because let's be real, as a society, we've gotten really lazy, okay? Again, we got Mav out here, shout out to my brother Mav, but he admits the only reason why he doesn't buy physical discs anymore is because he doesn't like getting up and putting the disc in the console, right? That's the only reason why. We are a society of convenience. So the fact that you could have one spot where you can access a show like Fallout or down the road Fable, and all of a sudden you get curious about that game and you're like, oh, hell yeah, that's right. This is Xbox. I got Xbox Game Pass right here on my Fire Stick. Let me flip on over. I just got done watching the show. I'm all pumped up. I'm all excited. Let me go check out some Fallout games. And you just log in right there on the spot, instantaneously into the Xbox ecosystem. You go find Fallout and you pop it on the screen, grab your controller, and you're playing. And again, to Slow-Mo's point, to Umbra's point, to all of us as enthusiast points, we understand the performance isn't always going to be there, that the cloud isn't going to be
logistics, right?
But again, we don't expect this to be forever. We expect that tech's going to continue to improve. That again, we went from phones that could never connect to the internet to now where we could play full movies in 4K on our freaking phones, okay? So we expect the tech to catch up. I expect cloud to catch up. I expect them to have their moments where we do get to that point. Yes, there's a lot of infrastructure that has to be done in certain countries, including the US as well. But I expect all that to happen as we move into the digital age. So maybe it's not a complete package right now, but I see signs of what could be with this deal, where it is just one of those, an added extra access point, but it offers a lot of potential down the road with Amazon as a partner, not as an enemy, but as a partner to grow your own fan base, to offer extra benefits to the Amazon user itself, themselves, and test out some ideas with maybe some transmedia and the gaming, and to see how people kind of switch back and forth. There's a lot that can happen with these types of partnerships, and Microsoft and Xbox have been doing a lot of this lately in the industry. And I think it is really by design that they are going out of their way to cast their net wide and far and to really form real long-lasting deals with these places, including things like Umbra said, like Samsung TV and all that kind of stuff. None of the stuff necessarily on its own is the biggest, oh my God, they're going to dominate again. We're going to have 100 million subs by next month. They are on their way to becoming Netflix. It's little by little getting your ecosystem in front of more and more people and adding to what I think they're doing coming next gen, with a more and more seamlessness between all devices, wherever you play, whatever you want to play on. that's what I think all of this has to do with. A great move. Again, there's no downside to this. This is just a part of their evolution. And people, again, this is not what like I've always said, I'd be Dark Phil. I would not be this Phil. I'd be playing by the old rules. I'd be going toe to toe with Sony 1 for 1. But that's neither here nor there. They're done with that. They have moved on. They're evolving. So when I take a step back, and again, it is what it is. Me as a gamer, I'm not losing anything. In fact, I'm gaining stuff. The more successful Xbox is as a publisher, the more places that they're at, the more access I have to my games, the more investment they're going to continue to make into Game Pass. It is nothing but a win-win for me right now. So when I take a step back, like, I get it. I get the evolution. Like, again, just listen to what they've been telling you for years now. It's the truth. They're going after 2 to 3 billion people. They really want to be everywhere, even at the expense of the console market, even if that means that they don't put the focus there. They're going for a much bigger pie right now, and that's where they see the future to be. So this is another one of those moves, man. I love it.
Awesome. And great points. And I want to highlight a couple things that you touched on. And I think if you really pull back here, one thing people aren't acknowledging too, and I know Slow-Mo, Umbra, I agree with you guys, Pong, there are limitations. There are real life like logistics, right, that need to be addressed, obviously, right? So as intelligent people, I think we all understand that. But I think if you really step back and take a look, like I mentioned earlier, they're not skimping on the games, buddy. Like, from just what we've seen lately, the game, I don't think that I understand the ultimate pie, like you said, Pong, is those 2-3 billion gamers. But at this current point in time, I can't speak for 12, 18, 24 months from now, but currently they're not skimping on the games. Those things are coming. Everything looks amazing. They just had their best show ever. I think universally their best show ever. And I'm excited about that too. So, I don't want to throw the baby out, with the bathwater. That doesn't seem to make sense to me. But everybody's, like you said, Pong, we're all different. Yeah. Everybody, we all play for different reasons. We all got different budgets, things like that, different tastes. So I understand how some people be frustrated by this. But like I said, for me, nothing changes for me, Pong.
Nope.
I used to play on I used to imagine this, Umbra, Slow-Mo. We used to play on cartridges. Yeah. Imagine that, right? Ain't that crazy? We used to have to blow in them things.
Cartridges now, though. I say that. I feel you. We all, it's all different. We're all different. We all like different things. Like there are people still playing on cartridges on Nintendo. Of course. and Nintendo, and they like, hey, Nintendo, can we get a no? Shut up. Okay, all right. Like don't even ask because you ain't getting nothing. But games that we keep rehashing and you keep buying. This look. I'll play the Nintendo every day of the week. I'm just it's as long as they keep giving me Fire Emblem, I'm right there with everyone else. But like, I think that we all kind of go to certain platforms for certain things, and that's why you got the Nintendo fans that just don't care. They can't message each other. They can't even send each other a request.
You can't help it, huh, Slow-Mo? You can't even help it.
I can't look. You're right. I can't. But it's just like But they're fine with that apparently, and that's just going to be like you may get some people that will be like, I am a Nintendo slave, and I just do Nintendo, and I just do whatever they want. And you know what? This is a way for me to play games without actually having to, buy an Xbox and play it that way. I don't mind. I play games at 540p, 15 frames per second on the Switch. So it's just like, clearly I don't care about performance.
I put out a post today saying that last Pokemon game could be played on a Texas Instrument graph calculator. That thing is ridiculous.
All of our cell phones is more powerful than a Nintendo Switch.
Man, crazy.
I always laugh, by the way, with the little friend code thing. Like, if
the social security number? You don't want the social?
It's like, hey man, you want to add me? Yeah, 8625 dash. All right, never mind.
Slow down, bro. Hold on. I need some time to put this in. He said 278. Is that wrong?
Hold on, let me load it back up. I forgot it.
Terrible.
Never mind, dog. We good.
Yeah, forget it. Yeah, forget it. Anyway, gotta make sure let Fuzz get his bars off. Y'all crazy, man.
Hold up real quick.
Oh, go
what
ahead.
is even the purpose of the friend code? So I can watch what games you playing. That's it.
Right.
I can't send you if we play games together, we can't talk strategy. It's Splatoon 3. Hey, watch out for that. Oh, right. You can't hear me unless
oh my god.
We get on Discord through phone. Over there.
It's so counterintuitive. I can't send you a
message. I can't do anything. It's just.
But if you listen, Slow-Mo, but if you say that, they just gonna say 120 million.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. Like that's, you know, how do you argue? How do you argue with that, Umbra?
Yes.
What you say?
I said there's nothing you can argue with on that front. Yeah, they got the numbers.
So you know,
burns money. They swimming in it right now. They're
debt free.
And I'll say it's partially the reason why they do what they do, because it's just like, well, why should we give you messaging? Clearly, you buy 5 Switches every year. Every time we come out with a new game and just give you a different Joy-Con with some Zelda symbols on it, you buy it. So it's like, why should I give you messaging? You just keep giving me money. So
facts.
I think
the guy that traded his. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Fuzzy. You kind of low, by the way, just to let you know. Oh, but I was going to say, I think Nintendo fans got that weird. It's not Stockholm syndrome. What do they call that? It's like a FOMO or something. Like it's
called being hypnotized. What are you talking about? It's crazy,
like
man.
It's a name for it too, though. It's like a name for this where they don't want to, where they've convinced themselves like they have to have this.
Yeah.
Even though deep inside their hearts they know that it's bad. Like,
well, you said brainwash. Shout out to HNS. Is that close or not? That's too crazy.
Close. It's kind of close to it.
Kind of close.
It's like their own mental gymnastics they're doing to bend over because they've invested so much. So they're like, I gotta keep on this train of doing that, even though they're getting no type of return on that end. When at the end you just have a bunch of switches like Logan said, sitting around.
Got a Switch for every first party game. It's just
every single one, bro. It's crazy.
Remember the dude traded in his GameCube? I think it was like a special edition GameCube, his original NES, and something else for like that Zelda Switch as an even trade.
Oh my
crazy.
God, that's crazy.
Insane. Go ahead, Fuzz. Get your bars off, bro.
Well, first I want to say you guys pretty much nailed it as far as from every aspect. The only thing I can really add to it is just looking at it from my standpoint. Having this additional option for like road trips and things is so much better than trying to either connect the Steam Deck to Wi-Fi at the hotel, or even trying to bring one of my Series S's for the weekend trip kind of thing. I'm not doing that. And the way some hotels are, you might not even be able to get to the menu to be able to do some of those things. But we'll see how Fire Sticks work out, because I'll definitely wind up picking up one at that point. But yeah, I think the big thing is looking back, kind of like what Pong touched on. Who would have thought, their partnership for the Fallout series and it being a success could lead to other things. On top of that, who would have thought with the FTC kind of withdrawing from things, we would start to get more announcements for stuff. It seems like it's like just around the corner timing kind of deal. Oh, the FTC is loosening their case because they didn't really have a case to begin with, and it looks even weaker now. Yeah, let's go ahead and announce that deal with Amazon and whatnot before Gamescom. And as far as like, yeah, there are limitations on xCloud and stuff like that, and we're seeing some stuff, some leaked images supposedly of NVIDIA GeForce Now and things like that. But just remember what's in the cloud right now, not the Azure cloud, but the xCloud is Series S's and Series X's. And if they're working on, the next gen between now and 2026, let's say, they could start slotting some of that stuff in that would hopefully improve some of that latency and things like that. I mean, whether it's a deeper partnership with NVIDIA, or if they use some of the Orion stuff that they acquired with Bethesda, hopefully they get something integrated between now and then. But yeah, it's an awesome option. It's a good way to lower the bar for getting people into your ecosystem. And if the rumor has it, as far as being able to possibly even purchase games, first I think they're going to have the step of being able to stream the games you own that aren't in Game Pass, which would be awesome. Um, Especially from a Steam Deck standpoint, or any of those types of devices where you're streaming, like I guess what is it, Logitech, that G Cloud or whatever they had type of deal. But yeah, this awesome deal to partner up with Amazon. Hopefully, Apple comes to their senses and stops fighting everybody in the UK or whatever, or in the EU in reference to the Android store. And oh, by the way, that's right. Next month is supposed to, or actually within the next 2 weeks is supposed to be the Microsoft mobile store. So yeah, there's going to be some more announcements either between now and then, or at least with that one, and then whatever comes in August for Gamescom and stuff. But yeah, I think Xbox now, since the FTC isn't as on their back type of deal as they once were,
They've been getting their ass kicked.
yeah, Xbox can go ahead and release some more news. I'm hoping that we get some more info on like hopefully an Elite 3 or Series 3 at Gamescom or that handheld. I would really like to know if that's going to be able to play games natively, for console games natively, and then possibly PC games natively. Because if it does, then I don't need a Steam Deck 2 at that point. But yeah, this deal with Amazon is pretty big. Yes, it's based on the newer device, but and it doesn't really slight Samsung. It's always good to have a deal with a TV partner because it's like the official TV of Xbox at that point. You have it for those that are able to buy like one of the latest and greatest Samsung TVs that have the app, or for those that have an older TV and want to add it to that TV, or maybe they don't want the kids playing on their C1 LG, so they can put the Fire Stick on another TV in the household type of deal. So it has a lot of possibilities. And then from Amazon's standpoint, they have that hit series that they use the IP from Microsoft. They also have a more complete gaming storefront as far as for options with that Fire Stick. Luna is on there, and they have some other things like the Jackbox stuff and some of the other streaming things you can do. But what better way to keep your customers in your ecosystem per se, even though they would have to get a subscription, they're still going to be on your device, and they're still going to be spending that money on Prime, and still spending money on maybe either other subscriptions within that, like their Disney subscription and so forth. So yeah, it's a good deal all around for the companies. From the consumers, it's more convenience or more options, and that's never been a bad thing as far as more options are concerned. But
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to when they start putting the next gen hardware in the servers. So we'll see how things improve between now and then.
and like you said, that's another thing too. Like you said, and obviously next generation is right around the corner. We're all expecting. I think most of us 26, 27, right, somewhere in that time frame.
And AI is changing so much.
That too.
Like we
That
don't
too.
know
That
what
too,
this is
yeah.
going to do
Yeah.
because it's so new and so fresh.
Yeah.
And how much investment they're making to it is obviously going to be a big part of their platform going forward. And we don't know what kind of leaps and bounds that's going to create.
That's true. That's
I
the
think
wild card. Paul,
It's
what'd you say?
it's been a wild card. Yeah, that's why I've been on it for so long and telling people that this could be a game changer. Obviously, not knowing how big Microsoft was going to get into AI, even just on the surface level, looking at what the potential there is. We'll see. I mean, again, there's no guarantees, obviously, in tech and especially in this industry, but we will definitely see where it goes. But I think AI could change a lot in the gaming industry going forward, especially with somebody like Microsoft's backing and them putting it into their devices. The other quick point I wanted to make real quick about the Amazon deal too. It's important to note that the Amazon execs were out praising this deal. They were making posts about it. That tells you a lot behind the scenes. This wasn't just a one-sided, oh, let's just get this thing. Okay, fine, cool. It's going to be something. That's fine. Just throw it on there. It's good. Yeah, you're going to give us some money for it. Okay, cool. Let's just put it on there. They were excited about this. That's why I always think that there's something else that is a little bit deeper to these deals than we see on the surface level a lot of times. But seeing the Amazon execs out talking about this partnership was a big deal. So I think that was also awesome to bring up. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. There's a lot of moving parts is what we're saying, people, right? I understand it's easy to get that damn PTSD out of here, man. We need to get rid of that in the community, man. Like, this is, like you said, Pong, people keep thinking this is not 2013 anymore, man. Like, things are a bit different. I understand they do trip over their feet sometimes, right? They tend to do that. But by and large, shout out to Ken Sante, I stole that. By and large, they're doing great. Like you said, we're not slacking on the games. This is just expanding, throwing out that wide casting net that you were talking about, Pong, right? Getting the hands in the cookie jar type thing. And it, that's what they've been saying they were going to do anyway. So, like, anybody shouldn't be surprised. But let's go ahead and switch lanes here, man. We got some other things to talk about here. But shout out to everybody watching. You guys are fucking awesome. Once again, hit the like button. Appreciate you guys' support. Show has been amazing so far. The guests have been awesome. Thank you guys so much, man. But we're moving on a little bit. I want to talk about something a little bit that I've been noticing in gaming, and I love I love the fact that we got the panel that we have tonight. I feel like it's a perfect topic. We're all right around the same age range, I would say, so this is pretty appropriate. I want to talk about kind of the renaissance that, like, remasters, like older games getting like part twos, just the resurgence of those kind of games. Just because we got some recent news, I'm gonna throw out a couple names here. Obviously, Sunset Overdrive. I mentioned Sunset Overdrive 2, but Sunset Overdrive throughout, they put up some like new animations or something earlier, and they got people talking about, well, maybe should they do another one? How that's gonna look? Then we obviously got news of Dead Rising remaster coming, at some point soon. That's awesome. I'm a huge fan of the franchise as well. Then we got Ubisoft confirming that they're still working on Beyond Good and Evil 2. They came out with the tweet, said, look, we're still working on it. Now, I don't know. That's a goddamn unicorn Bigfoot at this point, right? And until we actually see. Yeah. But it's nice to hear something, goddamn it. I'm taking it. Slow. Damn, you ain't taking that from me. All right? I'm taking it. So, but no, it's for real though. But it just, yeah, right. Facts. But no, for real, like it's still good to hear that, okay, you guys, the official, and wasn't a sock account, wasn't fake or anything. The official Ubisoft came out and said, yeah, we're still working on the game. So that's good. So I just want the overarching topic here is just the research.
Don't forget, Blam, too. But Ubisoft also said that they're remaking older Assassin's Creed games as well.
That's true.
They confirmed that as well this week, and we also got Star Wars Bounty Hunter.
That's another Star Wars Bounty Hunter out of the blue,
finally coming over to Xbox, which is fantastic, right? That's one of the Star Wars games that I don't think has been on Xbox, but Bounty Hunter's coming this fall. Like, nobody knew this was being done, so just want to throw that one out there too.
Once again, the Renaissance. No, great point. You just reinforce what we finna talk about anyway. So I appreciate that, Pong. So yeah, like, we'll start with you again, Slow-Mo. Like, this renaissance that we have of the, these concepts, these games coming back. Like, obviously nostalgia is a big, plays a big part here, but I would say by and large, most gamers are, we're a little bit above the larger piece of the pie here as far as our age range for gaming, I would say. But you're still seeing a huge resurgence, huge investment from publishers, from developers to make these kind of games.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're doing it as a means to kind of be a little, not necessarily filler, but to kind of fill in the gaps from some other big games that are on the way. And if you can capitalize on that nostalgia and do an actual quality project, then that's awesome. I think I do gotta give kind of credit to Capcom for this, because Capcom really this kind of fueled their research, because at one point in time, people was wondering if Capcom was even going to be around anymore. And then they started
talking about get them Xbox. We talking about Xbox buy them.
They were about to be Xbox.
They were about to be.
The contract was on the table.
And they just they doubled down. They said, hey, everyone loves Resident Evil 2. Well, let's do a remake of Resident Evil 2, but not just phone it in. Like, we're going to make it good, like really good. And I think people started to pay attention to that. And now this is where we're getting where we got, everyone wants to do a remaster or a remake, and we're seeing various degrees of quality with that. I mean, like Boo Boo Team is doing Silent Hill 2. It looks like Boo Boo, just like Boo Boo Team does. It sucks, but hey, not everyone can do it the way Capcom's going to do it. So I'm here for it. Like, a lot of the games that have been mentioned aren't really games that I care that much about anyway, but I'm not going to knock it. Other people enjoy those titles, and I think they have an opportunity if they do them well to actually make a good lot of money. And in some cases, I really hope that they are done well, because what that could mean for those IPs is coming back. Yes. Getting an actual, like, real full-fledged new game off of some of these IPs. These are things that we don't always get to see, unfortunately.
Yeah, facts. So. Fact. That's a great point. I fucking love that you ended on that, because to me, that's what I care about. Like, that's actually that actually it's so important to me that it outweighs, you know what I mean, what the cons would be in this particular situation. So that's super big for me. Super, super big for me. I care about that so much.
You ain't getting Beyond Good and Evil 2, though.
No. Listen, man. Right, listen. Don't listen. All right, listen.
Hey, look. I just want to crush all your hopes with this. Just think about it, right? The lead director that was the start of the project for Beyond Good and Evil 2, he left years ago. He don't even work at Ubisoft no more. They have rebooted the game like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. I don't trust Eve either. It don't even matter what game is. I mean, outside of like Assassin's Creed, I just don't trust his judgment and his like leadership ability as well either. He don't even, give. Anyway.
Yves Guillemot? Yeah, he's the worst.
Yeah,
Yves is the worst.
The Mo family is the worst.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But I gotta back up PTK here, because we are also getting, out of the blue, Good and Evil 1 again is being remade, remastered again, right? That's coming out. And Slow-Mo, they added a mission in there.
Oh no, really?
They added a mission that bridges the gap between Good and Evil 1 and number 2. Now, why would they spend the time adding a mission to a remaster if they weren't actually going to put out Good and Evil 2? I'm not saying it's going to be the greatest thing ever.
I'm just saying, if they start talking about it's a quadruple A project, you better run, not walk, run away from this game. Because look, at this, because it's on Skull and Bones level of like how long it's been in development, and the only reason
longer. What do you mean?
Longer, up in 9 years.
Yeah, like 9 years.
The only reason why Ubisoft calls Skull and Bones a quadruple A project is because they spent that much money on it. And the only reason it came out is because they spent that much money on it. They're just like, hey, look, we got to get some kind of return on investment. And I mean, look, Beyond Good and Evil about to be right in the same category. I hate to say it. I'm not saying I'm not hating on it just because I like the piss on people's parade. I do, but that's not the point today. I'm just saying that, like, I don't see this game coming out at all. Like, you think about the last time we saw it, we had a very flashy looking trailer, looked fantastic, but probably wouldn't even run on today's hardware, right? And we ain't seen nothing else since.
Come on, Slow. You already twisted the knife, man.
Next year, Slow. We're going to see it next year.
Man.
We are. Ubisoft Forward next year.
I hope we do.
We are going to see it.
Umbra, Slow got me feeling like Birdman over here. This is crazy.
And the Splinter Cell reboot and Beyond Good and Evil 2 will both be shown next year. That's my bet.
Let's get it, man. Early. Yep. Let's get it. Let's get it. So now that we done with all that negativity, let's move on to somebody who got shout out to you, Slow-Mo. You know I love you, boy.
So you're gonna go to Umbra? Jesus.
Yeah. I actually gotta run it back. So Umbra, since
wait. Why he say it like that?
Oh man.
He called on the good Lord and everything. Y'all hear this?
Because I'm looking at your picture.
Oh, what?
Oh,
Wow.
You see how I get treated here slow mo.
Yeah, that's
He
it.
said you're using that Tinder profile picture.
Oh
my
no.
God.
Gaz, tell me why does Umbra have his MySpace photo up one time?
Go ahead, go. So let me restate, Umber.
Yes,
Umber. So
please.
so essentially, it was just like the remaster Renaissance, remake Renaissance. We were just giving a bunch of examples. Paul, you mentioned Beyond Good and Evil 1. You mentioned
Yes.
the Star Wars Bounty Hunters.
Correct.
We obviously mentioned what the hell else did I mention? There's a bunch of other stuff.
Dead Rising.
Dead Rising obviously was the other
correct,
big one.
correct.
So
Assassin's Creed remakes are happening.
A bunch of stuff are happening. So there's a huge resurgence, renaissance of these types of games. So what do you think about that? Now, Slow Mo mentioned a lot of times maybe the companies or devs looking at these as maybe fillers. They're filling between time. But he brought up a great point as well. Is that this does give games that we may not have thought ever had a chance to come back an opportunity to have life again if the game is done well enough and if it sells, obviously, right? So there's that point too. Go ahead, Umber. What you got on that?
Well, I mean, I think if you're bringing back a classic game, most people are going to flock to it in most cases. I mean, you have the Resident Evil series as a whole, as we can see, everybody's like, yeah, but it's also because Capcom puts in quality work with their remasters.
They crushed.
Yes.
They crushed. That was a homer.
Yeah, so as long as you put in quality work into it, yeah, people will flock to it. I imagine the Metal Gear Solid Sigma, or is it Delta? No, it's Sigma, right? I think it's Sigma.
It's
Yeah,
Sigma.
I forget what
It's
the hell
Sigma.
the name of that thing
Sigma,
is.
Yeah,
yeah.
Snake Eater.
Sigma.
Just go with it.
Yes, they're I'm pretty sure that's going to be good from what we've seen of it.
Oh, yes.
So it's about what they put into these things. I feel like we've been clamoring for it. I know I've called for it many times. Like, there are plenty more that can go back and grab and bring forward. It's Delta. Amit said, Kumar said it's Delta. Okay. Pong led me astray, so blame him. But yeah, like there's plenty more that can go back and pull forward, like Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver. Like that's one I've always been talking about for years, and I've seen other people talk about it too. So I'm not by myself when it comes to that. And there are many more. So I'm all for it so long as they have a quality bar, at least along the likes of Resident Evil remakes that we've been getting from Capcom. That's the bigger thing. Just getting it out there just to get it out there is not going to service them any good if it's trash.
Mhm.
So
We've seen that as well. We got to acknowledge that as well because that is a real thing. A lot of companies, you're right, Umbra. I know Slow Mo mentioned that I believe as well too. We do get a lot of shovelware, as they say in the PC world.
And
man.
And I think to speak on it in detail, if you look at what they did with Resident Evil, they didn't bring it back with tank controls because that's not going to work today. They reworked the controls, modernized it for an audience that's just like, I'm not going to be like, the fear in the game isn't the zombies, it's me not being able to aim at the zombie correctly. Like no, that's not going to work anymore. You gotta do better. And so like that, those kind of smart decisions where you should, like, I gotta make sure that the story's right, the characters are right, you did Nemesis right, but these controls, they gotta change. And it's like when doing making those kind of decisions is what you do in a remake to modernize it for new audiences, so that the nostalgia for us older guys is there, and we understand why it's not a one-to-one like the old game. And then you got a newer generation that can be hip with it too, because it's like it actually plays well.
Yeah,
100% that. And you want to improve on it from show the technological leap you all have had. We've had it since then. Well, you all mentioned Beyond Good and Evil 2. Do you guys know that I believe that's in a Guinness World Records of being one of the longest games, if not the longest game now in development? That was announced in 2008.
It's crazy.
In 16 years.
Yeah. I didn't realize. So, okay, Slow Mo, I'll take it back. Maybe you were.
I was just trying. Trying to be realistic.
I did not even realize, Umbra. That blew my top off, bro. I did not realize it's been that long. Pong, I get it. Pong, the odds are even longer, brother. I don't know. Did you know how it was that far back, Pong?
Listen, all I care about is when did the teaser? When did the teaser come out? It wasn't then.
2008. Yeah.
No, it was not.
Yeah, that's when it was announced, 2008.
But not that teaser trailer was not.
It was later than that. It had to be.
Had
to be like 14, 15, something like that.
Like,
they
actually showed
where they showed that really impressive trailer that Slow-Mo was talking about, which was obviously
16,
bullshit.
It was
that was like 15,
Division
16,
2.
something like that.
Yeah.
It was 16.
We're coming up on 9 years since that.
Okay, well that's still kind of crazy. That's Last Guardian.
That's when they showed it as far as that actual gameplay, but it was in production since 2008.
Yeah.
So like,
okay, well, I mean,
but either way, I mean that's a long time. Even if you go by 16 standards to now, like, come on, that's a long time. So they've been in development. I don't want to say hell, but they've been going through it. So hopefully it comes out all right. It's not impossible. We've seen it with other games like Dead Rising 2 or Dead Island.
Yep.
Which I loved. I thought it was really great. But so it's possible. And that one switched like what 3-4 developers. Like that's impossible for that game to have come out as good as it did, and it did. But so it's possible. Hopefully it does. I love the first game. They're going really ambitious with the second one from what we saw. It looked too ambitious though. That's why I felt like, can they really land this? That felt like a game that
it looked crazy.
You wouldn't get on, like
it Crisis,
like several generations out.
Yeah,
that's what it looked like.
And Crisis type shit.
That aside, I mean, yeah, man, I'm all for it. I think though that the reason why they keep relying on these games because there's Star Wars in the game, like in the gaming community. We know these games. If you go back to Resident Evil and bring out a Resident Evil 5 or one that MJ Dark would often call for, and I love too, Code Veronica. You bring those back. The Resident Evil 2, my all-time favorite in the series, the old school one. Part 5. Let me see how I said part 5. What was the other one? Part 4, legendary one. Everybody loves part 4. So you bring those back, you pretty much guaranteed sales, especially if you turn in a good product. So I think it's less like these resurgence of these games being brought back, and more that these companies don't want to strike out on some other new IP and fail. So I think it's a mixture of things. They're just going back to the well of what they know works.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a double-edged sword. But I mean, if I'm all for it, so provided again, so long as it's quality, I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Give me a quality remake. 100% okay with that. I mean, they're doing it with Metal Gear Solid 3. They're doing it with other games you guys named. I mean, I could throw out a few more. I will hope they would do it with Splinter Cell 1 through, Chaos Theory. Go through all of those, the trilogy from the Xbox, OG Xbox. Bring all those back. So like there's many more we can point to that we would love for them to do that for. So I'm never against this, provided as long as it's good and they put real work into it, not something like a trash remake or remaster or whatever you want to call it of that, like Grand Theft Auto, for instance.
Lord have mercy, that was terrible.
Yeah, it was a Grand Theft
Auto. That's a shame. That's really a stain on Rockstar. People don't want to. People want to talk about it. People, obviously they know they're the white knight in Israel.
It wasn't.
It wasn't
the but it's obvious.
They authorized it.
They okayed that shit. Somebody signed off on that.
Get out of here, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have killed it right then and there.
The fact that the PC mods looked better than the actual remaster game, and then Take-Two did the even like bigger dickhead move by making the access to buy the old version of the game, like they just took it off the market, so you had no choice to. But if you wanted to buy it, your only thing that you could buy was their trash remaster and not the old version, and then just mod it up to actually make it look better.
Didn't they come out and say wasn't it confirmed that they used the mobile code? That they were using the mobile version for that?
I don't know.
I think
I just know that like I was looking at some of the screenshots on Twitter, and I was like in tears laughing at how like hideous it looked. Like it looked like my daughter had drew some of these characters. Like
Yobi just said in the chat, he said the GTA trilogy is the iOS ported to consoles, which is
that's what I thought. That's what I thought, bro.
That is so lazy.
And they also sued the modding community or some of the modders before all of that happened. Like I remember them taking them to court about that. Like they could, like a lot of modders were using the GTA 5 engine or whatever that one's engine was to remake those because, well, at least with San Andreas, it's supposedly the same area or a lot of the same region, and they pretty much try to sue them all to hell as far as all of that stuff. And then they acquired that Fiverr or not Fiverr, but like whatever that other engine that does like the servers
and stuff like because GTA 5 online now, it's like a whole it's a whole different game on PC.
completely.
People are
that RP
role
and all of that.
playing
Yeah, that's crazy.
and
it's crazy.
It's wild the stuff that people making a lot of money too with those private servers. And
I've
that's
heard
why
even some rappers slow-mo.
Oh, definitely a bunch of
more
them.
money from it.
Yeah.
Performing.
Guys is making like 50, 60K a month.
Sheesh.
And so that's why Rockstar is like, hey, we're gonna rein some of this in on the next game because we losing money. That should be going into our pocket, not yours. You know,
Like
even though
that's
I mean, they
doing.
are benefiting from it because the game still sell. You know, every time they put out a new version of the shit. You know what I mean?
But you know how greed is.
Well, yeah,
it's
obviously. Yeah.
It's just like I can always be making more.
Facts. I need that extra yacht. You know what I'm saying? So for sure. But I don't want to cut you off, Umbra. I don't know if you were.
No, that was really it for me.
Okay.
Again, like, and even on that part where Slow was just bringing up and Fuzzy with like the whole thing of them suing him. Imagine how terrible that is that you're going to sue them for making a quality mod and then release a trash port of an iOS version. Like how
they got no shame, man.
Yeah,
Crazy.
that's shameless.
Crazy. Go ahead, Paul. So I mean, obviously we just talked about this, man. We just stated this case, and this is one thing you as a grazer. The more you get to play is not a bad thing for you.
No. And we've talked about nostalgia, right?
Yeah.
Nostalgia is a hell of a drug, right?
Yeah. Nintendo.
We've talked about this a lot in the past too, right? I believe that there are IP that deserve to come forward. I believe that there are IP that absolutely future generations should, or younger generations should say at this point, or even future generations should have an opportunity to experience that nobody ever did, right? I think that if it's done right, as everybody has already stated, that has always been my stance. If you're gonna do it though, you got to do it right. I don't care if it's a full-blown remake or if it's a remaster. You got to do it right. And again, I was all over Rockstar for allowing that GTA shit to come out. Like, that is a slap in the face to the IP that made you who you are today as a company. And to allow something like that to come out, Rockstar Take-Two should be ashamed that they ever allowed that version to come out, right? And so I've always said, do it right. Respect the IP if you're going to do it. I don't care if it's a AA IP. I don't care if it's a AAA IP. Whatever you're bringing back, do it right or don't do it all and just let it be. And I think that, your points as far as, a lot of this stuff is feeding into that nostalgia, and it's just an easy way for some of these titles to come back and make money off of, because you don't have to full-blown remake them. You can remaster them, get rid of tank controls, all that kind of stuff. There's all different ways you can do it. I think that's right, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it either. If the core game itself is not being altered in massive ways and you are keeping the spirit of what made that IP big, I don't care what you do with it. I think it's great. I think that, again, my biggest example is Steel. He was a multiplayer, basically only player, never played Mass Effect, right? Never played the Mass Effect trilogy, wasn't a single player dude, never got in the multiplayer, didn't even know it had a multiplayer. But then EA goes and does right by Mass Effect, one of the greatest trilogies of all time, does a great, fantastic remaster, drops the entire trilogy, right? Steel goes and plays it for the first time in the best experience you possibly can have in Mass Effect, and now it's one of his top 5 series all time, right? This is why it's important that I do think some of this IP comes around. And I think Capcom obviously is the easy one to point to as the big publisher who has pushed this forward. They saved their company by doing great remakes of Resident Evil, right? Yep. They pulled themselves out, and now we've got peak Capcom all over again, where they can do no wrong. Other companies have seen that and realized that they can do the same thing. Now, there's been various successes and there's been lots of failures too. Star Wars Battlefront, the original series, that again, a terrible idea. If you're not going to treat it right, don't bring it out at all. But what we've seen recently is other companies like Night Dive Studios, Digital Eclipse, jump into this arena as well. System Shock just had a remake last year and now is dropping on consoles. System Shock is the original inspiration for BioShock from Ken Levine. System Shock is the original. generations who may have played BioShock but never played System Shock because it was a PC only game back in the day can now go enjoy System Shock and see what started it all, because they did an awesome job with remastering that. We've got other, Quake 2 got remastered, right? Dropped into Xbox Game Pass. A great remaster. Everybody was talking about it. It's beautiful. It's flawless. They didn't change it. They didn't remake it, but they remastered it for current generation type hardware, controls, etc., and it's great. So seeing games like Star Wars Bounty Hunter coming out, we've also got, I think it is Night Dive. Which one is it? I think it's Night Dive that's doing Dark Forces remaster as well. Those kind of IP, and this is why I was one of the Embracer cheerleaders with Lars and what he was trying to do over there, because he was trying to revive AA games. He was buying up old IP that was dead, bringing back studios, trying to do that thing. Obviously, it was a failure completely, but that's why I was a big proponent of this, because I think there is stuff out there still in this day and age, older IP that can live on current day and find new fans and please the old fans by being able to play it again on current hardware. So I'm always for this. I love the resurgence. I've been surprised by how many surprise announcements we've been getting of games just coming out of nowhere. Remasters, remakes, people coming up with titles that I never thought I would see again showing up. And I just hope that they all learn from the ones that have failed, that you got to put the time and effort. You got to be serious about it. You don't slap it down on the table with that nostalgia tag on it and just expect everybody to, slop it up and say, oh, this is great. You can't just do that. You got to do right by the IP. You got to put some effort into it and respect it for what it was in its place in video game history. You do all that, and you're going to find some success here. And I think it's a big deal. And now we got, potentially, we'll stay away from Beyond Good and Evil since that's been to death. Mm-hmm. But, even a place like Ubisoft and even a family like the Guillemot family, who just seemed to be clueless so much of the time, finally saw the light. And, potentially we are getting that Splinter Cell reboot now. It opens those doors as more and more people do this. So I am all for this kind of resurgence, this renaissance of older IP coming back again for sure.
Nice. Obviously, the huge caveat is the quality, right? Obviously, you got to do it right. You got to do it with the right amount of love, or just don't touch it at all, obviously, right? So,
you brought up Mass Effect trilogy, and that's a great example. Yeah. But you know what? It's funny though. EA had no faith in it.
Correct.
Yeah, because BioWare wanted to do a actual remake of all three, and they was like, "Yeah, we're not going to spend money on that."
Yeah,
and so they had what you get with the Legendary Edition is Unreal Engine 3,
correct?
A modified version of Unreal Engine 3, and they just wanted to put it on 4. They weren't even trying to make it like. Right. Unreal Engine 5, which probably would have been a disaster. Yeah. Sorry.
This ain't the old BioWare either. So
right, exactly. like they that would have not been good. But just to put it on 4, just to transfer it to 4, EA was like, yeah, we're not gonna authorize that. Mm-hmm. And then we were shocked when everybody went and bought it. It's just like, well, of course they did. It's freaking Mass Effect, man.
Legendary series.
How do you not know this is one of the most beloved franchises in history that you guys own, and that you're gonna have people come back and rebuy it, replay it if you do it right? What's amazing though, Slow-Mo, is to the facts that you just put out there, is how great it does still hold up with just a little spit shine. It was absolutely incredible, gorgeous. Yes. Gorgeous, man. Like, unbelievable. I can't imagine if they had actually gotten it on 4, let alone 5 in the right way. Like, it is unbelievable. But it is funny that EA is like that. And we just saw another example, too, real quick, Slow-Mo, to your point, with EA. Dead Space sounds like it was a disappointment, and they're not going to do 2 and 3, which is surprising to me because of how great Dead Space turned out, how people were talking about it. I restarted playing it again too, even though I don't do horror. I forced myself into Dead Space Remake because I loved the original Dead Spaces back in the day, and that was a flawless remake. Like that was perfectly done, but they're disappointed by the sales, so it doesn't sound like we're getting 2 or 3. So those big companies still have that about them, where it's got to be, if we're going to invest, it's got to be it's not for the love of the game. It's not for the love of the IP. We don't care about any of that shit.
Those numbers
those
gotta work
dollars
out.
gotta be good.
Yeah, them numbers gotta work. We not playing with Monopoly money out here. Come on now. But no, I feel you. But no, ultimately, like you said, the biggest caveat here, guys, is quality, passion. You know, you gotta show love to the IP. You know, it's we gonna notice right away. You can't really hide that. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Fuzz, before we wrap the show up and everything. Make sure you get your bars off on this, bruh.
These might be some messy bars, but I gotta say it. There should be some ground rules. Don't remake a game that's less than 5 years old. Period. That should be hands down.
Yeah,
Fuzzy's going after PlayStation here. Let's go.
Let's go. Hey man, it's a triple deluxe edition, man. It's not the same thing.
I didn't order that with the fries. No, no, but it's seriously. That's the only thing. It one group seems like they're just doing it to kind of fill in the gaps kind of deal, and the timing just didn't seem like it made sense to me on a couple of their titles. But yeah, I like seeing remakes, but yeah, they should be more than 5 years old. Like miss a generation or so or something like that. Like give it enough time for where the upgrade would be significant enough. Maybe from a visual standpoint or control standpoint or something. But it is a nice thing to see some of these games in a new light or a new skin or new coat of paint or however you want to address it type of deal. But they just need some ground rules on the timeline of when they can be allowed to be remade. But other than that, Capcom bounced back. It looks like Sega's going to have another bounce back. Like they've had some minor ones throughout, as far as like with returning to Sonic and some of their collections and things like that. We saw what like collection stuff did for like Crash Bandicoot and whatnot. So I would say that's the thing that some of these companies need to look at, and hopefully Square, looking at Capcom and looking at Sega, learn some things as far as not just making the taking the bag or money deals in some instances where it doesn't really benefit them. But outside of that, I would love to see a remake or an updated version of Sunset Overdrive, even if it's only on the other platform, or maybe they do PS5 and PC or something like that. But whatever the case would be, it would be nice to see something like that as well. But Good and Evil or Beyond Good and Evil, I mean, yeah, if they're going to do the 20th anniversary with additional context between what would be 1 and 2, for right now it's on. I mean, remember how many pushbacks or delays that Skull and Bones got. So maybe it actually will happen this time. I'm still kind of questioning for Splinter Cell. That one to me boggles my mind that it missed the last generation completely, and there's still nothing on like a no trailer, no official announcement that is, well, I wouldn't say credible, but like they need to do like at least what Nintendo did with Metroid or something like that type of deal. But just love seeing it. Just ground rules. Sony, follow the rules. And other than that, that's all I got.
All right, and we gotta do a quick rapid fire because I'm just curious here before we wrap the show up. And shout out to everybody that came out watching, man. You guys watching now, everybody watching on the replay later. But I gotta do just a quick rapid fire for the 4 of you guys. So pick one your GOAT tier remake. Go ahead, Slow Mo.
Oh man, Chrono Trigger. If I can get a remake of Chrono Trigger, and I got it planned out all in my mind. It's my favorite game of all time. You make Chrono an actual mute, because Chrono doesn't speak in the game. Make him an actual mute where he's using sign language to communicate with the rest of the party, so that he has a little bit more of a personality. You actually get to see his feedback in certain things. I want it in Akira Toriyama art style, but like how like the cutscenes are where it looked like a Dragon Ball kind of like animation. I want it close to that, right? Yeah. So that like it's not just top-down isometric old school Super Nintendo RPG like the original game was, but it looks far better. Same combat, the same turn-based combat with the combination attacks with your different parties. Bring that back. Show these kids what a real RPG is. That's what I want to see. So that'll be my perfect remake.
Okay, all right. So Umbra, it's on you.
Well, I mentioned it already, and that's Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver.
Ooh.
But since I mentioned that one already, I'll go outside of the box again, and I'll just say, well, this series is very underrated, so I don't think it would even do well. But it's a selfish pick. But Darksiders, I would redo that whole series.
Yeah.
Maybe they can do an Ultra collection and put like 1 and 2 and 3 together. So I don't know. That one right there, I almost said Lost Planet reading dang chat. That series is underrated in my opinion. It's sad how it kind of played out for them because it should have done much better. It's just so well done, at least especially part 1 and 2. So that would be one of them. But again, if I had to be forced to change, the answer would be something like that. But as far as what I always want, it would always be Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver remake for that, and maybe an Unreal Engine 5.
Ooh, oh, there you go. Obviously.
You know, I can see that being dope. And matter of fact, the woman who was responsible for writing that is still around out here.
Amy Hennig.
Yeah,
it's one of her classics when she started to get well known, man.
Yeah.
Maybe she can get on out there and get back on this right here.
There you go. So I guess I'll go. Lost Planet is actually was one of the ones I was gonna say, man. But you say?
I said it's got to come back.
It has to, bro.
It has to be on
Capcom. It has to. Listen,
after Power Stone, they have to do Lost Planet. Well, Dino Crisis has got to be in there too.
Yeah,
they got to do Dino Crisis. They got to do Power Stone, but then they've got to do Lost Planet.
They got to do Lost Planet. It's so. Oh my god! Imagine if it came out now, like it would. Oh man, like that. So that's a really really great choice. That actually probably would be. I was thinking Lost Planet because I was thinking Capcom. So that actually probably would be the 1, 2, and 3. Although 3 is not as popular as the first 2, I think the game was so ahead of its time, man. That with like the way multiplayer works nowadays, and you know the new hardware, and just that game was ahead of its time, man. Enemies, movement, just everything, bro. So it was such a good game. So I would love for them to like put some sauce on that. That would be great.
Look to a perfect example that we're going to find out in September right now. Okay, that's happening right now. What Lost Planet could be in this day and age, and that's Space Marine 2. Look what Saber Interactive is doing with Space Marine.
That's a great comparison.
One of those underrated 360 games that not everybody played, not everybody's into 40K, right? Lost Planet has that same potential with the multi, because again, they're not just doing a single player, right? They're going classic multiplayer and campaign with Space Marine 2, and it's looking phenomenal. Like this could be I think Capcom could do the same thing with Lost Planet. I
believe you 100,000%. I believe you 100,000% for sure. I think the potential's there. There's a whole generation or 2, 3 even that didn't get to play Lost Planet.
Yep.
They think like, you know, listen, I know I'm gonna sound crazy, but like Destiny, those kind of games, like, you know, that's not really. I mean, the Destiny's new, but it's not the whole concept. There were games like Lost Planet that kind of tapped into that multiplayer. You know, those large enemies, those big set pieces. Like that was really ahead of its time. A lot of people didn't get a chance to even play that, obviously. So there's a large group of people that would love that game if it came back. Boom. So give me like Helldivers vibes too, right? A little bit, maybe. A little bit. A little bit. Yep,
right, the Xenos.
Yeah.
That's going to be incredible. I can't wait till September. It's going to be fantastic. For me, one of mine is supposedly still alive and well. We will see if it's still alive and well. We'll see what kind of form it comes out in. But obviously, the one that I always wanted was KOTOR, which is happening according to Saber. It's still in the process, even though Sony pulled out of the deal. So KOTOR has already been done. So I'll go with another one that's been rumored. but no confirmation as of yet. Actually, I'll give you two because they're both in the same place. But Morrowind and Oblivion got to be redone. Morrowind and Oblivion have to be set up for future generations to go back and be able to play without cringing at the graphics, right? Without going, oh, God, how did you guys ever deal with this? Those are two classic Bethesda RPGs, Elder Scrolls series that need to be carried forward and live on. Yes, modders have done an unbelievable job with both of them. If you're on PC, there's a ton of modding you can do to make them come up, and there's still people playing them to this day. But man, would I like to see, and we've heard rumors that Oblivion and Fallout 3 are being remade, but I can't wait to see what they do with it with Creation Engine 2.0, with modernizing some of the controls, with some of the stuff that Bethesda has learned through the years. My God, both of those would be brand new games and would sell millions when they do drop. And I think that eventually we will get Morrowind. I think Oblivion will be first, but I can't wait to get an official announcement on it. I need an official announcement. Oblivion is right there. Again, ask me on a different day. It's either Skyrim or Oblivion, for the Elder Scrolls as far as my favorites go. But I'd love to see those happen, man. So.
All right. Great choices. Classics, obviously. Classics, all-time great games. So, Fuzz, it's on you before we wrap this thing up, bro.
Mine's going to be a bit of a weird one, but it's just because of what I'm playing now. I actually want to see Division 1 in updated resolution and updated graphics. Like basically what we see in Division 2, but Division 1. Division 2 is missing snow. That's probably the biggest thing.
It's such a freaking miss, Fuzzy. How about they just give us Division 3, Fuzzy, but give us the original vision of the bullshit that they showed us as the first trailer.
Oh, yeah.
Just go back and just give us that original vision. That'll be Division 1 basically
reboot. Superimposed on the floor and all that. A drone that can be used by somebody.
How about the bullet holes throughout the police cars? That looked freaking fantastic.
Glass when they shot the other side of the bus stop, the glass on the other side fell.
Just give us that. But I agree, Fuzzy. Bring back snow.
That's all I would need. I mean, they could keep even Division 1's gun mechanics, because even though I like 2 as far as for control a little bit better, but it wasn't as much laser sighted, I guess you could say, with Division 1. And I'd be fine with that. Like, just bring back the old mechanic as far as the what do you call it? The fire spread or whatever, or the recoil and whatnot. But I just need updated New York City with the snow, what they are capable of with the Snowdrop engine today, but for that older game, and I'd be happy. I could probably play another 1,000 or 2,000 hours of that game just like that.
Awesome. So a bunch of great choices, So we are going to go ahead and wrap up the show on that note, man. It's been a phenomenal show. We've had phenomenal guests, man. I greatly appreciate everybody for coming out, hanging out with us tonight. I know, like I said, we missed the last few weeks, but I appreciate you guys so much for hanging out with us. We have some great guests too. So let me go ahead and get around a panel, make sure everybody gives their their card facts before we get out of here. But we start with you, Somo. Once again, I appreciate you here as the host of the show, man. Thank you for coming through, brother. You always welcome here. Family, you know what I mean? So anytime you're available, I'm gonna shoot out that bat signal. But thank you, man. Let everybody know where they can find you, Slomo.
Oh, absolutely. Had a great time. Enjoyed good company with good gamers, man. So it was a good time, a great chat as well. You can check me out on Damage Per Second podcast with my homie Gaming Forte. We got our own channel, just DPS podcast. We have a good time, joking on each other and talk about the games we love. So, just come through and enjoy the show whenever we go live.
Appreciate it, man. Once again, all his information down in the description. Please go do that, chat. You guys know what to do. We show love to all the guests here to come through for the Shop podcast, man. So appreciate you so much for coming through.
Oh, and one more thing.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I keep forgetting to say this. My own channel, Slow Mo Backslap. I've kind of changed some things, so now I'm really more focused on just the games that I love or the games that I'm excited for. So if you are into the First Descendant or Dragon Age: The Veilguard, come through on my channel. I'm doing all kinds of content on it. So
facts. Yep. Shout out to you too, man. So I'll be playing some First Descendant too. I love the beta. I enjoyed the game, but appreciate you coming through, bro. You guys know what to do. Go hit that. Yeah, make sure you go. So support for Umbra. Slow-mo, everybody here at the Shop Podcast as well. All our guests, all our co-hosts, and the hosts here too. But Umbra, appreciate you coming through, brother. Thank you so much, man. Like I said, you are a huge guest here at the Shop Podcast. I got to embellish you to piss Pong off, but anyway,
yeah,
shout out to you.
Praise me more.
Shout out to you for coming through, man. But let
You can
everybody know.
hear his ego just eating right now. Like, it's just insane.
Oh man, I gotta
Freaking
stop. Those
loud.
intrusive thoughts coming out, man. I'm sorry.
I'm literally floating right now by my head.
I know, right? I'm sorry. That was a
No, you're fine.
Go ahead, brother. Let them can find you.
I mean, listen, thank you guys for inviting me, man. It's always fun to come and chop it up with you guys, even when dealing with Pong. So, yeah, man, it's just, listen, if I have to tolerate Pong to come and talk with you and Fuzzy and whomever else, I'll do it, damn it. I'll do it.
I appreciate that. That's like a huge compliment, man. Pong is awesome, though, but that's my boy.
Pong is awesome. Pong is awesome. I'm just messing. I'm just joshing, as they would say. No, man, thanks for having me, brother. And had a good time as always. Chopping it up about gaming. I'm about to get back to this Octopath. So I was just chomping at the bit to get back to it anyway. I'm gonna be honest with you. But it was a good discussion, always fun. You guys can find me on Twitter, X Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite. You'll find me either way. Tuesdays at 12 o'clock Eastern on Boom's Xbox Factor. My show, The Fix, with Daniel J. McG at 8 o'clock Eastern on Thursdays at 8 o'clock. Did I say 8 o'clock Eastern? I did. And Fridays, the Infinite Podcast. Myself, Risky for the Biscuit, that blue number, and Spriggan, a.k.a. Dante Moody. So you guys come by and check us out on all of those. But by the way, Slow, I'm gonna have to hit you up, man, about that first Descendant, man. I've never played it yet. Well, I didn't play the beta, but I definitely do want to jump into that.
The beta is fire. It's basically, you know how the South Koreans love to make their characters look, right?
Oh yeah.
So imagine,
you mean they appreciate beauty?
Oh yeah,
man, crazy.
So imagine the cheekage, but you're playing like a game that a looter that's designed very much like a mix of Warframe and Destiny.
Oh man,
yeah, that's good.
That's
man.
it, yeah.
I love the beta. I played the shit out of it, bro.
And let's not fail to mention too, Slow-mo, cross play, cross progression across everything as well. Free to play. It's on all the consoles, including last gen. They've got it running on last gen. This thing, me and Steele talked about it for about almost an hour this morning. If they hit it right, Nexon's got a potential massive winner here. If they got the servers right, because man, this game's got something special to it. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
I'm all for it, man. It looks really, really good. I was sold when I saw, I knew it was about it already, but when they re-showed it at this conference this past earlier this month, I suppose, I was like, yeah, I can't wait to play that. Now we saw the Oat Bunny they showed out there. I'm like, oh, they got the Snow Bunny
competing with Eve out here, man.
Loves Bunny.
I'm like, they got the Snow Bunnies popping. Dr. Ubar gonna have to understand.
Crazy for that boy. You crazy.
Pardon me.
Right? June ain't even over yet. June ain't even over yet, man.
I'm sorry, Dr. Umar. My coon chip has been activated, as you would say. I'm going to be on the game. No, it looks really good, man. I can't wait to get on it. By the way, are they using Unreal Engine for this?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Before.
Not 5. I'll take it. Listen, my 4080 Super will handle it just fine. I can't wait, man.
Yeah, they actually showed the last week. They showed the PC part specs and everything, and it's very, very easy to run based on that. Yes, extremely.
And even on the consoles too. They got ray tracing for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X.
Wow.
So, yeah, they did a great job with this game. If it comes out smooth, mostly smooth, like this has got potential, a lot of potential right out the gate.
I wish them good luck there.
Yeah.
All right, Pong.
Yeah,
my brother coming through, man. Appreciate you, man.
Great to be back on a Saturday night. Great to be ending my night with you guys again. Of course, Blam and Fuzz. Missed you, brothers, and it's great to be back. And of course, like I started the show by saying, what a night to have two just absolutely amazing guests on here as well with Slow-mo and Umbra. Just appreciate their thoughts so much, man. Again, two passionate gamers who come with the knowledge. Love talking with people like that. It's the best part of podcasting, as I always said. Love doing my 2 2-man shows with Mav and Steel too, but getting on regular shows with other people as well, and just hearing different thoughts and that I don't always get to speak with is also a big part of this. So awesome to have you guys. Thank you for giving us your time tonight and being here for our first show back. It was a blast. Chat, you guys were amazing coming back out for us on a Saturday night. Appreciate all of you, all the familiar faces back in here with us on a Saturday night. Nothing but love and respect. As I always say to all of you, you guys are a part of these shows as much as we are here on panel. Without you, we are just a bunch of dudes BSing on Xbox Live about this shit. So thank you all for being here and joining in on the conversations as well. Listen, you guys know how to find me, Pongsoul on X, formerly known as Twitter, Pongsoul on the Xbox, Pongsoul on Steam, Pongsoul on GOG, Pongsoul on Epic. Find me, I'll find you back. Next week's going to be a short week due to the 4th of July. So we're not going to have PM in the PM on the 4th. So it's going to be another short week. Anybody celebrating 4th of July, by the way, have a great 4th next week. Be safe out there. Don't blow any fingers off. Don't be in one of those videos where things go haywire because you got your box of fireworks too close to everything, man. I love fireworks, by the way. Just don't be one of those idiots. I love watching those videos, but don't be. So I hope you all have a great 4th. But otherwise, Tuesdays, you got to show up over at Boomstick's channel. Double Barrel Gaming is the channel. Boomstick's the man. Everything on Tuesdays is all good things green because it's Xbox Factor Podcast, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. Again, my week will not start on Thursday because we have the 4th of July. So me and Mav are taking another week off. But Friday night, we should be back for Xbox Ultimate on the Fun Speculation Network, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. And of course, Steele and I should have another go week next week on Saturday for Living Split Screen every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. We go live, raw, and uncut. We had a nice little 5.5 hour show today. Steele and I will take you from the morning till the afternoon or from the afternoon to the evening, depending on where you are in the world. We always have a good time with our chat there. We get the chat definitely involved. So come on by, check us out. Living Split Screen every Saturday morning, and then God willing, we'll be back here for another episode of the Shop Podcast. We are going to be talking a lot of First Descendant, I have a feeling, next week. That is the game I've been waiting on. Short week. Got Thursday, Friday off. Going to be hopping into First Descendant a lot. So you're going to be hearing a lot of that talk. If you guys have not checked out the First Descendant, please do so. I did not get a chance to play the beta, but I watched Steele play the beta, live stream it, talk to him a lot. We got Decado. I know Decado's in the chat right now too. Decado has been nothing but praising this game. Can't wait for this type of looter. It's free to play. Freaking awesome, man. This game looks so amazing. And it's coming from the East yet again. Oh, man, I love it. So we're going to have a lot of talk next week, but please, it's the golden age of gaming. There is tons to play. Even if that's not up your alley, I know you got 1,000 games in your back catalog, at least right now. So please, have a great rest of your weekend. Play what you love. Love what you play, and I'll talk to you all real soon. Thanks, PTK.
Appreciate you, man. So, Buzz, go ahead, bro.
Oh, yeah. Man, glad to be back with you guys tonight. This was an awesome show. It was so awesome having Slow-Mo and Umbra on here tonight as well. Man, thanks to everybody in the chat for joining us tonight. Thanks for checking us out. And, with the return back to podcasting, greatly appreciate you guys just chilling with us this night. And, for those that want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at @fuzzy_Belvedere. Me and 3-Bit will be back tomorrow for Pixelated Echoes at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just do a search on YouTube for Pixelated Echo. And then you can also find me on Xbox Lunch Break Special at 12 noon on Double Barrel Gaming. Once again, 12 noon on Double Barrel Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and the crew. And then later that evening on FSP on Fun Speculations channel at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then hope to see you guys all right back here next Saturday, same time, same place, same channel, right here for the Shop Podcast. Look forward to seeing you guys there. Thanks again.
Appreciate you, Fuzz. Always coming through, man. Appreciate you, man. Once again, the gang is back, man. So last but not least, your boy PTK Blam, the host here at the Shop Podcast. Just once again, first and foremost, thank you to the guests that were here, Umbra, Slow-Mo. You guys do me a favor. Go follow them. Go support all the guests that come through here at the Shop Podcast because they're phenomenal for just sharing their time with us here every single Saturday, man. But other than that, you can find me everywhere, Xbox, on Twitter, all of that good stuff. I appreciate every single one of you guys. We will be back same place, same time next week more guests as well too. So look forward to that. DM's open. If you guys have any ideas for guests, anybody you want to see on here, please let me know. You know what I'm saying? Hit me up on Twitter. Easiest way to get a hold of me. But peace out, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Like Pong said, be safe next week. All right. Don't do no crazy shit. All right. Have fun, but be safe. But I appreciate y'all. See you guys next week. Peace out, everybody.